Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Yes, we're late. I'm sorry. We're late. It's been a day. It's been a day of craziness, breaking news, all kinds of weird stuff has happened today, but it's a Friday. It's into the weekend. So, hey, welcome. Great to have you all with us tonight. It's another episode of Buck Rogers Reviews, Buck Rogers in 25th Century. Tonight we have scheduled episodes 9 and 10, Unchained Woman and Planet of the Amazon Women. Well, we are down one of our key members tonight, but let me bring on those that we do have, followed by, of course, we got to bring out the first, the gracious, the classy, the lady of the bunch, Daisy Blossom. Hi, Daisy.
Hello.
How
Hello,
are you
chat. We
tonight?
see you.
Yay.
Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Exactly. Thank you so much. We're actually had to consider different options, things and all to do tonight, but hey, you never know. The stream may not end with this stream, because if the guy in the bullpen is ready to go for 3 more hours tonight, hell, we might do it. The great Hungry Boy. Hey, Hungry.
I am the bullpenner. I am the bullpenner. Get to the chopper.
Oh, God. The chopper. Oh, my gosh.
Get to the chopper.
That's like, I did not expect that tonight, my friend. How are you doing?
Wrong TV series, but we'll run with that one.
It's not a Kuma. Oh, wait. It's Turbo time.
Oh, did you guys see Kindergarten Cop?
Yes. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, okay. Something about I hate children or something like that, because he had to be the kindergarten teacher and he wasn't. Oh my God. That's one of his best movies. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, it's funny. The other night, I had a show with my favorite movies, and that was great. I see some of our people out there that were part of it, but it was so hilarious was that what was so hilarious to me was, my top four, because I think it probably had to probably catch a lot of people off guard. But then again, I am eclectic. I am the dad man walking 55. So, I try to set the trends and all. And, my fourth favorite was Christmas Vacation. My third favorite was the horror movie Krampus. The second was Home Alone 2 in New York. And then number one was It's Turbo Time.
Oh, dear God.
What? Okay, Hungry, you react to that. What do you think?
What movie is that? I'm sorry. Hold on. Before
Jingle
Hungry
All the Way. Jingle All the Way. It's a classic Christmas movie. It's all for the family and stuff. And
that wasn't what I was reacting to. That wasn't. But we need to, let's talk about Christmas a little bit, because there were some little Christmas miracles in both of these Buck Rogers episodes, even though Buck Rogers generally does not do, shall we say, seasonally themed episodes. But there were little miracles in both of these episodes tonight.
Well, okay, before we get to that, I do want to ask you, see, like Tommy had said out there about Jingle All the Way. What did you think about Jingle All the Way? I mean, because it seemed like you had it seemed at least to me you had opinions on it, kind of like Duran.
Oh, okay. I would rather watch Jingle All the Way 5 times than listen to 2 Duran songs. I think it's I don't like Duran except for the songs, except for the B-sides. The B-sides that I don't know about that Dadman has shared with me. Those are great. They're fantastic. It's like the stuff that I like. I like more alternative indie stuff, right? The B-sides are often better. And that's kind of like these episodes of Buck Rogers tonight. These are the B-sides episodes. Well, the second one, not so much. The first one is definitely a B-side, even though I adore it. But, I mean, look, I despite the way I speak, I'm male, I'm heterosexual. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it. And Jamie Lee Curtis is the female lead. It's got Tara Buckman in it. She was in Night Court. She was the sexy character. No, that was Marky Post. My apologies.
Correct.
But Tara Buckman has played a lot of sexy, smiling, fun characters as well. And she played a villain in this one. That goes totally against
Was that the blonde
type.
blonde that worked with the guy?
Okay. Yes. Dude, and we want.
Go ahead.
What? No, you.
No, I was like, dude, you went from my question all the way now to about Jingle All the Way off into tonight's episodes.
You told me I had to be able to roll with the punches tonight, and that's what I'm doing.
Jingle All the Way. I'm curious though. You compared it to Duran Duran. So Jingle All the Way. What did that movie really bother you?
No, it didn't bother me. I thought it was very entertaining, but
Okay,
I thought it was a generalistic entertaining versus Die Hard, which is very specific entertainment.
Which is, by the way, folks, join me in Great Daisy Blossom this Wednesday night where we are going to go into that. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
No.
Sit. You heard the cat.
Stay down.
I'm a cat, not a dog.
Not
you can't
tonight.
tell me what to do.
Well, I'm a cat too. I can tell you. I'm an old cat. I'm higher up on the cat tree, and I'm looking down at you, going, "Cut it out. Behave."
Well, I have to actually behave because I'm much more of a Burmese than a Siamese, so you understand what I mean. Especially those chocolate tip Siamese. My God, you can't get them to do anything.
Oh my gosh. You guys are great. Guys, I needed a laugh tonight. You guys are just what the doctor ordered. So tonight. So let me go back through there. But like I said, everyone come Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I want the debate. You in the chat, talk about why it is, what it's not. You know, but Daisy Blossom are not going to talk about it till then.
Nope. Not giving my opinion. I have no opinion.
I've had so many people asking me and so many chances when I've been on streams and stuff, and I'm just like, nope. Going to wait. Yeah, I think I was somewhere else, and I said, yep, you got to go to my channel on Wednesday night. So, hey, let's do this real quick. Let's go through the chat and we'll get into tonight's episode. So, hey, I don't know how I ended up here first, but
you're
holding.
You're holding. Oh, well, maybe you said.
I don't know. Who knows? Well, but hey, Corey Cochran's here. Hey, Corey. We got Snortapoopas Cuber. Hello, humans and other critters.
Hello.
We got the great Masters Maniac Mexico Friday Night Real Things. I love it. You know what, Masters? It is so great to hear you say that because, you know, that's uplifting to hear because there's so much competition and so many things out there on a Friday night. It's good to be felt special. Thank you for the support for all of y'all out there too. But thank you very much. Santa Megatron's here. Ho ho ho! We're gonna talk about that Wednesday night. One of the great ho ho ho's. That and Christmas Story. You know, ho ho ho. Now I have a machine gun too. Oh, great Daisy Blossom. Hey, Daisy.
Oh, hello. Look, and she has my name.
Yes, she took it.
I wooed.
And it's going to be the great Sci-Fi Mombi, who was also with our movie stream the other night. Great to see you, Sci-Fi Mombi.
Hello.
Hope you're well. Jeremy 5, Russia Approved is here. Hello, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
You know, he did put something out on Twitter a while back because he apparently was up in the same areas of Colorado we were. And unfortunately, I wish I would have been like him staying overnight in the area where he stayed because he could have gone. I would have gone to Nana's Bakery in Delhi to play that. Nana's Bakery and bowling to play Miss Pac-Man ad nauseum. But so, hey, good to see you. Tomby is here. Hey, Tomby, good morning. 2 a.m. from the UK. And hello to the chat and the mods. We love the mods. You guys are great. Thank you. Oh, you're lurking. Hey, lurking's also good. It's also wonderful to have you, you know. And so, Snorapoopa said, hungry is more of a scruffy old alley cat.
That's mean.
Oh, all right.
No comment from the cat either. So
exactly. Sorry, the chat jumped on me big time too. By the way, I just realized I skipped a lot here. Let's see, because we had Jeremy come in, Sci-Fi Mummy, then Tommy said good morning. Then there was a Jingle All the Way. Yes, Arnie and Phil Hartman. Pure cheese of a film, something that plays white noise in the background. You kind of tell what's going on when we're really watching. And young Anakin Skywalker is just as annoying. Oh,
wow. Is that the same kid?
Yep. Jake Lloyd. Yep. It is. As the original one, as the one in the Phantom Menace. So
okay. Yeah. I know who from. Yep. I know from Star Wars. I know from
Yep.
Star Wars. Yes.
And Tommy says Die Hard is a Christmas movie confirmed by the scriptwriter. Okay, what? Hey, still a matter of debate. Come Wednesday night.
People
Bring that
can still have
argument
an
in with us Wednesday
opinion.
night. Yes, exactly. Oh wow, now he's Christmas Maniac Mexico.
I love it. That's perfect.
That's awesome. And Ice Raven, which is Corey, is over on our Twitch side too. Thank you so much.
Hi,
Laura Pupa
Twitch.
says, I'm a
miss
mean
you.
bear. Yes.
Sorry.
And folks, make sure you keep up with the missus and get her on the Twitch side. She's up to like 2.44 entering
got to
today.
get to 3. She's got to get to 3.
She's come up from like 1.5 or under 1.5.
I know. She told us. I'm
Exactly.
so proud of her. I am so proud of her. That is
Thank you.
so hard to do, and she's just rocking it over there.
Exactly. Thank you all for your support for her channel. Jiggle all the way. Yes, for some of us people with a little extra weight. Tommy, our Maniac Mexico says to Tommy, indeed, confirmed by physician as well. He can get it subscribed. Hey, nope, not going to talk about it tonight. You guys, you got to.
Nope.
I want bring your friends, neighbors, and everybody else. Bring them over there over to us Wednesday night. Let's have some fun with it.
No,
bring your best arguments. Let's
our
bring
lips are sealed. Our lips. Yep. I can't remember the rest of the words to that song. Our lips are sealed.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Hungry Boy's not here yet, is he?
No, I don't think so. He would not. He'd be very annoyed with me that I brought that up.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I know, but hey, God, if he hates, who hates Duran? How can you hate Duran Duran? So,
well, I grew up with people who were not Duran Duran fans. Hello, are you angry with me right now?
No, I was reacting to Dadman saying, "How can you?" It's very easy.
You didn't hear what I said.
Doesn't matter what they say. In the jealous games people play. Our lips are sealed.
I'm going away now.
I knew you were going to do that. See, Dadman was doing this long soliloquy about how we weren't going to give our opinions for whether or not it's a Christmas movie, and the "Our Lips Are Sealed" song started playing in my head. I'm so sorry. I do apologize.
Okay. I have got to do that song on a karaoke one night.
Oh God, that's too far.
I will take away my internet if you do that. I will never be on the internet again if you do that song.
Well, did either of y'all get to hear the Lion King one, the Can You Feel the Love Tonight that I did?
Yeah, I did. It was
I think I did.
A lovely job.
Wow, that was the song that was one of the songs played before our wedding. So it's always held a special thing in our heart. And it was nice to not destroy the song. So
yes,
exactly. So and Mrs. got tuned the first time.
We liked the song "Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong."
Love,
no.
Love lift
yes. I'm sorry. We were getting married. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's from An Officer and a Gentleman, and my husband was in the Navy. So that's the song we danced to. I know it's sappy. It was a wedding. It was 4 decades ago. I was young.
There you go. Hey, Christmas. Hey, look, Master changed the name to Christmas now. No Duran Duran. It's A View for a Kill.
There
you go.
Daisy, I'm younger than you, but I'm still a 70s kid like you, right? Mm-hmm. I cannot stand any song from the Beverly Hills Cops franchise. That's
I thought you were going to say Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, I liked the Beverly. See, I'm a '60s kid. I liked the Beverly Hillbillies.
Ditto. I was a very late '60s kid, but I mean the jingles and the theme songs from those shows were fantastic. But the moment we get into, and this is my problem with 80s music, too much synthesizer pretending to be a real instrument and then adding way too much brass instruments on top of that all the damn time.
I do prefer I sometimes like 80s music. I like a lot of music, but I do prefer a band that plays instruments. Even if they are doing keyboards and they have brass or whatever, or violins or whatever, but that they are actually playing the instruments means a great deal to me. I get the synthesized thing put it on in the background, whatever. But there's just something about being able to pick up an instrument, and the guitar is one of the hardest instruments to learn how to play.
Yep.
And I'm a former drummer, so being able to do
really? Wow.
four different things at the same time is a skill. So I understand the skills that go behind that. And so that's just really cool to me. I mean, I don't poo-poo people because there's boy bands and girl bands and all they do is sing. And there was doo-wop back in the 50s and that kind of stuff. And that was fine because they upgraded barbershop quartet almost.
Yes.
And that's a skill as well.
I would not say almost. I would say exactly.
Yeah, they just updated it for, because they had music in the background and that kind of thing. But anyway, sorry, we are so far off topic right now, people.
But hey, it's one of those nights. We got 8 people with us. Make sure you hit that like button. 9 people. Make sure you subscribe. If you're on Twitch, make sure you follow if you have not already. But,
I could bring us back on topic.
And hey, Kronos.
Hi, Kronos.
I'd like you to do that, but I just want to give a compliment to drummers, okay? Because I was friends with 3 drummers and I dated one, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, no, seriously, because the thing, and I'm not going to make a naughty joke. What I'm saying is it's very difficult to be able to syncopate what you're doing with your leg with what you're doing with 2 arms. That is very difficult.
Both legs.
Oh, that's so much harder. Oh, my God.
Because you've got the bass drum and then you've got the hi-hat, or you've got other things that you're doing. So at certain times you are literally doing 4 different things at the same time and you're the rhythm section. So you're making sure that everyone else doesn't speed up or slow down.
Well,
correct.
But if you're familiar with the group Def Leppard, when the drummer lost an arm in an accident.
My favorite band on the planet.
What?
Yep.
I pictured you as a Duran Duran bebopper, not a heavy metal. Wow. The dark things you find out about Daisy Blossom.
I love that. I love it.
And hey, your Muslim uncles.
I mean, honestly, Daisy, this show, Buck Rogers, would have done better with a lot more Def Leppard and a lot less disco,
Well, they were Def Leppard wasn't quite in the United States big time yet. I mean, they were
big in Australia.
They were obvious.
But you're part of the Commonwealth, okay? You share the same bands, the same women, the same alcohol.
But what I would tie back to this is while I did have some difficulty with the style of the singing in the movie, the theme song had words.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the first 2 episodes. You guys can go back and listen because we talked about this. It had the words, but then once it becomes just a broadcast television, because it wasn't as common for this kind of show to have words to the song, they just play the music, and they have changed it slightly, the instruments that they're playing and such. And it does lose something without the words.
Yeah, it becomes from like a ballad to power 80s ballad to a just a your typical sci-fi type of theme song. I want to hit a couple things real quick here, folks. Give us some leeway tonight. We're going to get to the episodes, but we're also we're adapting without one of our teammates tonight, so we're kind of improvising a little, and we miss them tonight. Hopefully JT can make it before the end of the show. If not, definitely next week. But I wanted to hit a couple things real quick because we got some questions, and since we're taking this and 13 of y'all are here, we'll stay with where you guys want to talk for a little bit before we go into the episodes. But your Muslim uncle brings out the great Doug Dodgers in the 21st and a half century. So Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes. Now, Kronos did ask, and we can just go around the horn kind of quickly. What's your favorite band?
Oh, that is, no, God. You can't ask that. That's like asking me what's your favorite comic book or sci-fi movie. You can't ask that, Kronos.
I will tell you the early Duran Duran up until Seven and the Ragged Tiger.
You
then
son
they
of a
just
bitch.
jumped the shark. What?
They are not the best band in the world. Okay,
Well,
they're
the
very
one
good.
that was my favorite. So
I believe we established mine was Def Leppard, but I like lots of other.
I am so shocked, though.
Very
Mild
Hey,
mannered
I
white
used to
Daisy.
listen. Oh yeah, and AC/DC. I've been to AC/DC
What?
concerts.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Akadaka. Yes.
Oh yes.
Ugh.
Hello. Welcome to my show. I cannot believe
He
you.
tossed us. How woo.
I know.
I just like.
Okay, I'll calm you down. I like Rod Stewart. I've been to his concerts.
I respect AC/DC better than Rod Stewart.
Okay, fine. Oh yes, the Scorpions. Yep,
The Scorpions.
are good.
Oh my God. Oh gosh. Let's see. Hey, Cronus asked if you can sing, Daisy.
Can I sing yes? Will I sing no?
Ah, there you go.
No. Hey, Daisy, not until we get you an AKG C214 microphone with a Neve as a preamp. Then you'll sing for us, and you know exactly what I mean.
Was it?
You did not hear me say yes to that.
This is like audio geek talk, nerd talk, Dadman. So you got to apologize.
Well, you know what? Then I've been talking about forever. We need to do an '80s music stream, and it can go through all the stuff you don't like to the heavy metal stuff and all that. When the New Year.
Okay.
comes
Okay.
around,
Do you want me to? Do you want me to tell you something? Okay. So when I was quite young, and my mom and dad bought me a close and play. Do you know what that is? So it's a record player that you can transport about like a little suitcase, and you open it up, you put the record, and then you close the lid and it plays. Okay. So they got me one of those, and the two quote unquote bands as I was a kid in the 60s were the Jackson 5 and the Osmonds.
I can respect that because of the construction of the songs. I understand exactly what you mean. The construction of the song means everything, and that's like what we're going to be talking about later tonight. The construction of the screenplay.
Everything to me in that dress. I swear.
What? Don't you dare.
What? Texas Midnight Runners, you know?
I hate that bloody band. Oh, God.
I got enough color joke for you I came up with when I was a teenager about them. So, hey, I'll tell you later. So, oh, gosh, all the names, Alice in Chains. Oh, come on, your boy. You love Rod Stewart. Come on.
He does good love songs. I will tell you something that's really cool, though. So we went to the concert because my husband really likes Rod Stewart. And before the thing, he hired a pipe band, meaning bagpipes, which I know people love or hate. I love them. They went up and down the aisles playing different songs on the pipes, and then they all stood in the front and did Scotland Forever, and then the concert started.
Daisy, I got one song title for you. It's A Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll, and you know what I mean when it comes to bagpipes. Oh yeah, because half of the people who make music in Australia were actually imported Scottish kids from after World War II. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, three of the major members of Akadaka are actually Scottish kids, and then the other one is an Australian kid with Scottish parents. It's a Scottish band, but it's in Australia.
Yes. That's
the lead singer of Men at Work, Colin Hay. He's a Scot. He's not Australian.
Really?
He's not Australian. Nope.
What's he doing talking about Vegemite sandwich and all this other stuff?
He was reading it off the cue cards. The rest of the band wrote the words because he was such an amazing singer. He just okay. So ABBA, right? When ABBA first when they first came to the United States, they could not speak English. So they literally had the words written out, and they phonetically learned the words to the songs because they didn't know what they were singing.
Hey,
eventually.
Daisy, you're gonna love this. That is how the ultimate huge hit, making major money in 1931, Dracula with Bela Lugosi, happened because he had to phonetically read it and have it explained to him in Hungarian what the words meant, and then he would read it out in English, and that he was such a genius, he could pull it off. And then it took him 20 years to learn English properly for conversational English. And
English is hard.
Yep.
If you were from someone like Hungary, which has the Magyar language, which is one of the original languages, which means there's no variation of it in any other form of language, it is incredibly hard to learn English.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the Japanese learning English, there's a reason why we need captions for the kaiju movies, okay? Fair is fair. Because have you guys ever tried to learn Japanese? It is messed up for an English mind.
The missus tried Korean for a while, but
Korean's easier. Korean is easier, but still very, very hard. I had a South Korean godmother, and she tried teaching me a couple of sentences. No.
Well, Chinese is a very it's a sing-songy tonal language.
Yeah.
If you get the tone wrong, the tone's wrong in the word, you change what the word means.
Correct.
Right.
So it is a very difficult language.
You got to be careful too, because it's like some places American Sign Language. They mean drastically different places in different places. My mom's warned me about that, so that you got to be careful.
Yes, you got to be very careful in sign language. You can.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with the Chinese, to bring you up there, it's very regional as well. So you have in each of the regions separately, you have a situation where the ch sound can be more like s or more like ch, and you can say the exact same other phonemes, the other nouns the same way, but if you say the ch sound differently, it changes the entire word and meaning, and it affects the rest of the construction of the sentence as interpreted by the person listening to you.
Correct.
Absolutely. Well, we spent 30 minutes on everything, 35 minutes, 30 minutes since we were
time to start,
huh? So let's go ahead and kick it into the episodes tonight, as Daisy tried to do before with the music and the theme song.
I did. I tried to keep us on track.
We're going to have to do a music stream.
I was stalling for you, Daisy.
I think we are going to have to do a music stream sometime soon, and probably after the first of the year, because apparently we got a lot of great participation in the chat. You guys love your stuff, and now I have to go back and just like reevaluate my life since Daisy's shot the heck out of me.
I need to make one language joke for Daisy. Daisy and every other woman listening before we begin, because of the episode 2 we're going to be talking about, Planet of the Amazonian Women. And that, because I did learn to pronounce this properly. Dobra dan, dobra izgledna devojčica.
It sounds Russian.
No, Yugoslav.
Oh, okay.
It sound I knew it wasn't Russian.
Oh, okay. What do I know? Anyway, that's why I have you guys here. So
I didn't know it was Yugoslavian, but I knew it wasn't Russian.
It's Serbo-Croat. Serbo-Croat.
Gotcha. Okay, I gotcha.
What is interesting about this episode is that IMDb has it listed as different numbers than what we've seen it in the order that we're taking, because it has it like as 7 and 8, I believe, or 6 and 7, and whereas in the orders it was published in the orders in DVD, it's episodes 9 and 10. Episode 9 is Unchained Woman. The director was Dick Lowry. Let's see, who was the director was Dick Lowry. The writer was Bill Taylor. This aired November 1, 1979, episode 53409.
That dude must have got blacklisted, because Bill Taylor's got no information I can find about him on the internet aside from this that we're talking about tonight. He had done like 2 episodes of other kid science fiction, comic book oriented stuff, and this guy's a mystery. He is a blank spot. Yeah, it's weird.
Kronos, I don't know of any free sites. I think there are ones that you can find if you know how to look for things like that. There have been some archive type sites, but they get taken down, as I understand it.
Oh yeah,
I purchased it. I think Daisy's purchased it, but Hungry was able to get it before. So I think if you keep a lookout, you may be able to find it. You never know. Hell, I'm finding TV episodes on YouTube like crazy you never know where you'll find it.
Well, the problem, Kronos, is that if we tell you this publicly, there are people who are looking out to take down sites that share things that are owned by corporate interests, whether that be the BBC or whether that be NBC or ABC or CBS. So if we tell you this publicly versus telling you in a DM on Tweety, then by the time you go and look for it, it's going to be taken down on an intellectual property right claim. And I'm sorry it gets that complicated, but it's just the way that corporate law regarding these shows are now. I apologize for that.
And we're not doing Cosme because we're not doing it as a watch party per se. We're just kind of coming through talking about episodes. And these are great TV shows, and people have still have memories from them. Some still have them and still watch them. If we ever can find out more links, we'll have to message you or something. But all I can suggest is take a look out there, search for it, and you might get lucky. You never know.
I will later. No, Daisy, you go. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say I bought mine on eBay. It was used. They have some very decent prices for them. I got mine came in its original cover, the dust cover, and still had the jacket inside that listed what all the episodes were. But all of the DVDs have played, and it was used. They do have new ones too, but of course they're more expensive.
It all depends on how well people treated the DVDs before they sell them as sold.
Yeah.
I will tell you, if you go on eBay to do something, the trick is to find people who have not just a high customer review, but that they've sold a great many things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, the Buck Rogers only did 2 seasons. We'll get to the second season later. But the thing is, in Hungary, you might have to correct me because the missus always tell me one thing's when we've gone, whether we're buying Star Trek, new or whatever else, there's, I guess, regionalism, isn't there?
Yes.
In DVDs.
Regional.
You got to make sure.
Oh God.
Yes. So you can't just buy a DVD and it automatically works. And that I don't understand.
Okay, now that is about protectionism, and that's a whole economic concept I don't want to waste the chat's time with.
Yeah, but if they went to buy it, how do they try to make sure they buy something?
You need to know what region you are.
Yes.
So in the United States, it's not quite as difficult because usually on Amazon or eBay or whatever, most of the things are going to play in the United States. But if you're not in the United States, you need to know what region you are, and then make sure that the DVD or Blu-ray will play in your region, or it won't play.
Or you decide if you're going to be buying a lot of DVDs, if what you can do, and this is what I did for over 10 years, I bought a region-free DVD player.
Yeah,
and
you can do that.
I don't know if they're still available, but if you do that, it'll play every region. It's going to cost $500 versus $150, but it depends on how many DVDs you're actually buying. So you have to weigh up for yourself. Are you saving money or wasting money? And if you're somebody who you got a wall of 500 DVDs from around the world, I would recommend a region-free DVD player for $500 or less dollars. But if you've only got 50 DVDs that you're buying, then maybe you have to pay attention to the DVD region that you're buying for the DVD itself. You know what I mean, Daisy?
I do.
All right. Well, that's just some of the warnings out there. I hope our buddies Stunning and Store Poopus are still with us, because we sure took a detour off the way we started this episode. And that's almost for free according to Masters. So basically, with this episode, Unchained Woman, posing as a prisoner named Valjean, Buck is taken to an underground penal colony on Zeta Minor when he springs a female inmate named Jen Burton. Jen is wanted by Earth's Directorate so she can testify about the criminal activities of her pirate boyfriend, Mallory Pantera. Oh, there you go. Another musical reference before it ever existed. However, Pantera happens to have a business associate back on Earth, Ted Warwick, the Zetan government diplomat whose involvement could be exposed if she testifies. While Buck and Jen try to rendezvous with Wilma, Warwick tips off Pantera and he sends his goons after them. However, Buck and Jen's worst problem is a malfunctioning android prison guard damaged during the prison break. And we're going to talk about all that, how that happened, and this android is bent on destroying them both. So that's what we have there. We've got guest stars in this one, of course, as we have not kept a secret. The great Jamie Lee Curtis as Jen Burton, Michael Delano, who played Mallory Pantera, Burt Rosario, who played Sirio Sandweller, Tara Buckman as Majil, which I think is the blonde associate Pantera in this one.
Majel. Not Majil.
Majel. Okay. Walter Hunter as Hugo the android. The android had a name. Hugo.
Hugo. Wow. Yes.
Yeah. Robert Cornwaite as Ted Warwick, who was the diplomat. Daniel Ades as Guyman. Jim B. Smith as a shuttle captain, who was actually an android, we found out. And Charles Walker, Lieutenant Zimmerman. So, folks, Hungry. That basically, that short synopsis kind of tells you how this whole episode goes. It basically, we see a ship transporting a prisoner at the beginning. They board it. They switch out prisoners like you do your coffee, regular for decaf. Buck is playing as a prisoner. They wipe the android's mind, and then he delivers them to the prison planet. They infiltrate the prison. Takes a necklace off Buck, which becomes the detonator. It blows all that shit out of the whole place. I mean, I'm like, how did anybody survive in that? And then all the people escaped, and then one droid got crushed, the other rebooted and went after. But he also picked, and I want to talk about this. Why did he pick on that one? Because he saw a lot of the other escapees, but he focused on Buck. I can tell you. Jen, hold it for right now. We'll get into that at the right time. Then we have a lot of back and forth. They find Pantera. She double crosses Buck. Then her boyfriend double crosses her. Blah blah blah. Wilma and them come in. They fight a bit, and then near the end, you got at the end, the android comes out, gets Pantera, and actually they all have to gang up, shoot the android to put him down, and then. Obviously, Pantera's arrested, and then they also Dr. Ewer gets the diplomat in the hangar. They had a deep friendship and stuff, and
you left out the last part. Out the last part, which is actually kind of stolen from Halloween, 1978, which I'm sure Daisy has seen. Yep. The situation is the villain is still alive, implying he might come back later. Yes. And we'll jump to that. We'll jump to that at the end of talking about this episode. Yes, Hugo.
Yes.
But the thing about this episode, and I love how you broke it down in terms of plot and synopsis, is there is absolutely nothing else going on in this episode from what you said.
Well, there is nothing. Really, a lot of the others, we had a lot of stuff in the background. We had the Draconian invasions and double crossing. We had a lot of stuff that was out there, working in the scenes. But this one just kind of was like just helping. Jen to escape and to get there to testify. I think we had the backstage drama with the diplomat that could have been exposed, with his illegal dealings.
That was a major part of it.
But it was all within the context of the episode and what we were seeing on the screen.
It was not a badly written episode. I'm just saying it was not as well written. And I say this even when I was watching it before I got my first introduction to, shall we say, teenage years. It was not something that I thought was particularly well written. I wanted it to be written better, and I thought it could have been written better, but it kind of felt, and this is a term in television, it felt like a fill-in episode. It felt like something that they had designed in case they were running late and they'd spent too much money on another episode that they were working on. And this happens in a lot of television. And this is, I just want to address something that Chrono said. We're going to have to do spoilers for this, Chronos. This is the way we're basically breaking down the episode piece by piece, both episodes. It's just what we do. And I apologize for that, Chronos, but we can't really talk about the episodes without spoiling them, because every aspect of this first episode, oh my God, it is all so specific. It is God.
That's why, like the other night with the Gojira movie, I I tried to come on and talk about it, and I was fumbling with. I really did not want to do spoilers that early because it had just come out, and it was such a good movie that it was like. But it was there were so many specific things, and it's like you could not really talk about it without being very specific, and so that's why I kind of backed off on that a little bit. But this show, yeah, there's really no way we can talk about this for people that have watched the show or with us and reactions and looking back. But like you said, there's a lot of member berries seen as a kid, and hopefully you can get it next week and catch up with us on the next episodes. So, well, and Angry Canadian is here. Hey, Angry Canadian, good to see you.
Hey, I love him. And just to reaffirm to people, I mean, if people reach out to me on Tweety and I can DM you privately, I can send you links to where you can see the stuff for free. But I will say, what I will send you, what I'm looking at is the way it looked at on cathode ray televisions. Back in the 70s when this was made.
Meaning plugs, test tubes.
They were huge pieces of furniture that took up half of the living room.
I got to play with those stupid. My dad always told me, don't play with that picture tube because especially the end that broke and all the gases in it. But I like the battery testers are my favorite. Plug it in to test the battery. Oh God, I
love those things. This is what pisses me off about this episode. Those were very visually interesting pieces of equipment. They really were. They weren't simple little doodads, as we used to say back in the day. You remember the term doodads, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
But you could have used that as a doodad in this episode, and there are some visually nice pieces in this episode. But man,
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Son of a bitch!
I knew someone was going there.
I was trying to
stay they're blonde, so.
Oh, Tara. No, I mean, honestly, I would say Tara visually is equal in desirability to Jamie Lee.
Yeah.
And so, from a lot of people, they think Tara is more attractive than Jamie Lee. But the thing that was great about Tara, and this is not a spoiler, and we see her very early in the episode, very, very early in the episode. She is equal to Jamie Lee in the way that she uses body language and facial expression. I talk about this all the time, and minor little moments of tonal inflection in her voice. And she's totally opposite to Jamie Lee, but that is one of the few things, I hate to say this, one of the few things that makes this episode, as much as I love it, a real gem. But it is an MST3K gem. It's not a Star Wars 77 gem like the following episode is.
Right. So, it was interesting, how this episode just it was like last week with the Bard. They did like, boom, right into it. Same thing with this one. You got a prison ship moving through space. All of a sudden they're being held and told to pull, you're going to be bored. It was like these episodes, they did not wait around to do a lot of exposition at first. They really just got into the episode really quickly and hit the ground running.
But that's the aspect, and Daisy has spoken about this beforehand, as have you, and God, I wish he was here. No offense, Daisy, but I miss our brother JT. I'm used to it being 4 Musketeers, not 3. I get antsy about this. You understand? It's I mean, you've been in bands. Imagine you got a 4-piece band and suddenly the bassist is gone.
No, it's like weird. Duran and Andy Taylor never came back. Dear God, the group fell apart without the lead guitarist because he really knew how to play music. The other guys wanted all that synthesized stuff, but hey,
that is true.
All I need is Lisa here now to talk Duran.
But the thing about this episode from the very beginning, and Daisy, you're of an age, you like me, a vintage, I should say, of a vintage, where it was a very Kojak episode versus a very science fiction episode, where the following episode we're going to talk about is extremely science fiction, classic science fiction, 30s, 40s, 50s science fiction. This one is a 1970s cop show translated into a science fiction show with sexiness added to it. Yeah. And that's a very different kettle of fish from the very beginning. Sorry, Daisy, you were going to say?
Oh yeah, no, yes, I would agree. It, sometimes I wonder with these things if they were a little concerned because sci-fi wasn't normally what was on a weekly program.
It was
And
rare.
so again, like we've said in other episodes, well, they put a little of this in to try and get older viewers in or whatever. So with this one, if you're trying to get a larger audience that might not watch your sci-fi show,
Right.
you bring in Jamie Lee Curtis and then
Right.
you amp up the sex appeal to the amount it's allowed in 79 on TV. And then you make it a cop drama in space, which is difficult as a sci-fi fan because you want things to stay sci-fi,
Right.
and that has a different aesthetic. I mean, there are sci-fis that do. There's cowboys in space. I mean, they don't do it that way, but so sometimes it's like, okay, I guess you had to, as you said, have an extra episode or whatever, and you sort of just put this in, and it's not like the others.
Well, to agree with you, and probably several people in chat, number one, I am a massive Columbo fan and also a Kojak fan. I like my crime dramas. I do not want a stinking robot in my crime dramas. Do you understand what I mean?
No, but you got robots in this crime drama. Well, it's not really crime drama, but still. No, you want the sci-fi. What? I'm just showing a picture.
Me today.
I'm picturing the very first picture of the moon. You see how I was saying they took out the robot, the android, and they wiped his memory so that he would not remember getting boarded and stuff. Or
what is he C-3PO?
Well, apparently yes. Apparently it's the first mind wipe before Phantom
How
Menace.
dare you, Daisy? How
I
dare
know.
you?
I'm sorry.
No, actually, he comes off like a 1950s marshal transporting a prisoner in this episode. And the thing there were two things that really bugged me, which is number one, his outfit for a scientifically apt and advanced society looked very much like a 1968 astronaut outfit. So unless they've got a really bad budget from the nation and world that he comes from, that is not visually apt. That throws me off, even when I was less than 10 years old. And the other thing is, and this is going to be my big beef because we're already getting into it, so I'm not jumping ahead. We have a lot of android cybernetic action going on in this episode. So we've got this. We have more. This guy. Go ahead.
See, we have a lot more in this episode of more types. See, we've seen the Dr. Theopolis and the computer guys.
Right.
We've seen Tweaky, but this is the first thing where we actually see full-bodied androids and
who are designed to look exactly like humans.
And a number of them, because at the prison colony there were two on guard.
Yes, and the problem I have here, and I'm sure Daisy would agree, and if JT was here, he would agree, is that you don't create an android or a cybernetic organism when you have the wonderment of Dr. Theopolis, and you have the wonderment, and we saw this and talked about this, Daisy, in the previous episode, of the other council of cybernetic elders. And they might have different personalities, but they are separate to human personalities in the way they speak, in the way they react to humans. And in this one, damn it, they're just like human characters, and they're just called androids, and it bugs the living crap out of me.
But it's not just those guys. It's just not the human androids. We're seeing Twiki even going double, triple down. You know, get your red hots, and all the stuff he keeps saying out. And
that was in the second episode, not this one.
Well, no, he did one about hot dogs tonight or something.
Yes, true.
But he's done other. We're seeing Twiki with more and more of these human references, and it's like Dr. Ewer is finally catching on. Like that must be a Buck saying, "Yeah, it is."
Well, they did establish that in the pilot.
Yeah, they did that early on.
But they're doing more of it now. It seems like
it's getting grotesque. It's getting grotesque.
You don't like it, or you think it's overdone?
I think that, see, if you have something that is done to an appropriate level, that is one thing. But if you do it to an extreme level, that's where the definition of grotesque comes from. And it
Well,
becomes a grotesque version of humor where they're doing it like, okay, the kids laughed at it. We got some fan letters. Some of the adults liked it. They remember Mel Blanc as Bugs Bunny's voice and Foghorn Leghorn back in the 1940s. So we're just going to milk this until it's dead.
But see, I'll tell you, if that's, do you think that that's what's happening already?
Yes,
okay.
100%.
I don't agree. I do not agree. I think that they're doing it to keep that connection, to keep it alive, because we're not only seeing just Twiggy, or if we saw Dr. Theopolis change, yeah, I could agree, because we're seeing him slowly catching on to what Twiggy is doing with Bug, but he's understanding Bug's character with it, but he's not doing that. What we did see was not just Twiggy this time, Wilma again, talking about grilled cheese sandwich. That's a throwback.
Second episode.
Throwback episode.
Yeah,
and it's like,
we discussed that.
Yeah, and it's like we're seeing her, they're all taking on this characters from somebody in the past into the future society, because that's how we're seeing the role of Buck Rogers and his influence on the society. Then, not just as people, these are the leaders of the Earth Directorate. I mean, we see Dr. Ewer even changing in some regards. We see the computer Dr. Theopolis being, a little more understanding. Well, this is Buck, but that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's what's making our hero even better, because he's not just the hero saving the day, getting all the chicks and managing to go to bed without taking his clothes off type. He's actually making people happy. He's changing their lives for a positive, for a good.
All right.
And that rubbing off as friends is a good thing.
I agree with that. And debate is the essence of human character growing from someone else's human character.
And we love to debate on this channel. We don't like echo chambers. We won't debate and all that. But go ahead. Sorry about that.
I was just going to say, and Daisy will understand this, when you've actually written some science fiction, whether you're struggling to write it well or you've written it well and you've had a little bit of it published, your opinion of it changes very much to someone who's never done that. Just like, I can talk about drumming, but I do not have the rhythm for it. So I cannot speak about drumming the way that Daisy does. I can't. I don't have the physical experience, and I have never decided I want to do that in a professional or even semi-professional context. When you're looking at the context of this with what you are saying, and this is a debate, not an argument, I remind the chat, because people under the age of 30 forget there is a difference between debate and argument. That's why they are different words in the bloody thesaurus. The thing is that, you laugh because the thing is that there is a progression level in doing this amount of things within a certain amount of episodes. Like we talked about Battlestar Galactica before. The progression was rather moderate in Battlestar Galactica, but it seems like sometimes, I don't know, the production system was getting messed up here. And I think honestly, this episode we're looking at right now was fairly rushed. I think they had to rush it into production. There's no real production information on this episode at all. And trust me, I searched for 2 hours before coming on air today for you to find that production information. And I couldn't find it. Now, if I couldn't find it, I know you can't find it. I'm not being a bitch. I'm just saying, dude, like I'm the sci-fi guy.
You love the B word tonight. That's like 10 times you've thrown it down already.
This episode pisses me off. It could have been so much better. It could have been so much better if they'd taken the time and thrown a little bit of money at it. Oh.
All right, go ahead.
I would also like to point out on a note on the progression of a character. Twiki obviously existed in a world where humans were saying things. And I assume that 500 years ago, in the future, 500 years in the future, 500 years ago too, everyone has their little sayings that everyone just sort of understands.
Colloquialisms.
Yes. Colloquialisms. Thank you. Couldn't find the word. So like in the 70s, when you found someone attractive, you'd go, oh my God, what a fox.
Right.
And So if you said that to a youngster today, they'd be looking at you like a
Quizzically.
fox, an animal.
Quizzically.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. So
Oh my
there's
God.
got to
Yeah.
be colloquialisms for 500 years from now that Buck would not be aware of, but
Right.
Tweaky would. And
Mm.
we never hear Tweaky say other types of human words other than,
Right.
he did when he fell on his face and he said, I'm dead and it's very dark and all that.
Mm.
And that was funny. But
Mm.
most of the time, we don't hear him speak in quote unquote English or any other language other than the bitty, 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 bitty.
Yes.
So it's just odd that all of this sudden, I get it, he really likes Buck, but there were
Right.
probably other humans that were polite to him and he didn't pick up what they were saying.
See, this is another thing, and I don't mean to go full on nerd and geek here, but Daisy, you're a full on nerd and geek, and I apologize, Dadman, for doing this, but it's part of the things that you ask us to come on the show for. And the thing is that if Tweaky is the assistant with a capital A to Dr. Theopolis, then he would have access when necessary to anything Dr. Theopolis knows. So unless there has been a massive burnout, shall we say? That's a 1970s term. You remember that, Daisy. A massive burnout in the available digital technology that would, by our terms, qualify as a library of terms, a lexicon of terms. Tweaky should know a lot more terms than merely what Buck provides him. And that is a science fiction inconsistency in writing. And it's just going to be one of these things on the show that bothers me, but I understand why they did it. But that does not mean I need to agree with it, And I don't creatively agree with it. There could have been a few other little lines, Tweaky could have made, he could have simply said, a name by a rose by another name is still a rose. And he could have used various other phrases from other aspects in human history, but these episodes needed to be pumped out every week. And I get that, but I'm agreeing 100% with what you're saying, while simultaneously, I hate to say it, agreeing with what Dadman is saying. And sometimes there are two things that can contradict each other, but be accurate and true.
Well, yeah, and they are trying to, watching TV in the 70s, for those of you who are younger than all of us, you had a singular television in your living room that everyone watched. You had to watch what was on. There were no DVDs, no VHS, no, I'm going to record it for later. And to a certain extent, some of it had to be accessible to the whole family. So Tweaky is very cute and somewhat childlike in his appearance. And then he says these slightly naughty things that the kids may or may not pick up on at the time, because there was no internet for us to all go find out things we should not. So you had to appeal to a bunch. So I understand why they're doing it. It's just, from the sci-fi perspective, it's a little quick and a little only what Buck says.
Well, let me do something real quick. Kronos asked how old was Jamie Lee Curtis here. She was born in November of 1958, so this episode was 79.
I don't think he was asking about Jamie. I think he was asking about Daisy.
Well, Jamie,
never ask a real woman what her age is, Kronos. You're too young to learn that lesson.
Jamie Lee Curtis was born November 22, 1958. So if this episode played in
was November the 1st. So it was just before her birthday.
It was like 21 years old. Dang.
Well, it would have been filmed before that.
Yeah,
by a certain amount. So
at least 6 months. So the thing that people need to remember is that Jamie Lee had done a little bit of television work before this, and then the entire world knew her from, and I'm not espousing horror movies, I'm just saying it was an extraordinarily well done horror movie, Halloween. It came out in 1978. So the fact of the matter is, Halloween was being filmed before that period in 1978, and Jamie Lee Curtis became someone that everyone went over, but they also looked at her. Other people looked at her and went over, and Daisy knows what I mean, right? But she was the innocent girl in Halloween.
Yes. Yes.
And she was the girl who couldn't get a date versus her friend, who was the sexier one, even though other people didn't think she was as sexy. But there was this aspect of the tough gal who could defend themselves against a horror that would just go after you no matter what. And Michael Myers, he was the Terminator before the Terminator.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Could not be destroyed.
And she was Connors. She was Sarah Connors, the innocent waitress going about her daily life, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I've got to defend myself against this cybernetic being.
With no proper explanation why. They're just on the defensive. The woman is on the defensive, and they are doing their best. I don't want to sound woke here because I'm not, but I'm also not like a guy either. I love it when you have a character of either gender who can be gentle and be eloquent and be sensitive, but then they have to rise to the occasion. And you know what? That's Luke Skywalker, buddy. That's Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. Yes, absolutely.
The real one, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one Luke Skywalker, not the...
I don't know what... That was Jake. That was Jake.
Yeah.
His evil twin brother, Jake Skywalker.
But this is going into what Daisy is talking about, whereas you look at Jamie Lee Curtis and people are aware of her, even if they didn't see Halloween, they may have just seen the trailers. Because let's remember, there weren't a lot of television trailers going on in 1979 compared to what you would see in the movie theaters, either in Australia or Canada or the United States. And so they would be aware of her because hers was the main face in the Halloween trailer. And they would think, oh, I like her. And you would think, okay, she's on this television show. I don't necessarily like science fiction, but I might tune in for her.
Are you Sarah Connor?
But in a little bit, we'll need to talk about some more specific things.
Let's move ahead real quick, too, with this one. There's another scene here that we actually have a picture, because we talked about Buck got taken down by the android and all that, got not necessarily frisked, but they inspected him, put him in a thing to body scan all this stuff. Then they found a medallion, which then he threw down. The android took down, threw in the trash can, which eventually we see in this we see it to start to smoke. They're like, hey, what's that? But Buck had been over in the prisoners with Jen here, and then all of a sudden he's like, do me a favor, what, get down. And so they got down, and then it blew all hell. You should have seen the explosion. You see the smoke and all here, it blew it way high in the air, blew everything out, blew the walls down. And I'm like thinking, how did they get all up here? Because I thought it was an underground facility. It was like bizarre, but they blew it all off. It's like, I would have thought they'd have blown everybody up underground too. But doesn't matter. They got out here. You can see other prisoners escape in the chaos that's after. Buck is going to try to catch up with woman.
You jumped ahead so far.
How did I jump ahead very far?
Kidding.
Well, but
I was going to say that an explosion does depend on which way it is set, and what it is set against. So, if this explosion was set in such a way that it simply blew upwards, very little of its kinetic energy would shoot downwards into killing the people below. They might have died from debris falling on them, but not necessarily blow them all up. Right. There.
But what happens is it like blows out the walls. They didn't have to go back up. Yeah, it's like they just ran out the side door.
Okay,
but they're like underground, and I'm like, those are questions I had with it. But it was. But I played along. But then after this, we see that the one android that survived, he was banged up and all. One of them was crushed, and he was like, there is no escape. prisoners assemble here, and then it's like then he went away. But the one that survived came up and saw all these other escapees, but fixated on these two. Now, Hungry Boy, why? I think we talked about that earlier, and you have an answer, right?
I have a presumed answer.
Okay, well, we'll take that because I have nothing.
Okay, well, the one thing that comes up later in the episode, and it's made very, very clear, is that Hugo, and I'm just going to reference Hugo and all other androids like him in this prison facility, they actually make it very clear they go after the beeping radar signal from the bracelets. So the bracelets are key to this episode. But what they failed to do, and again, this is why I think the episode was rushed. They didn't show the other prisoners not having the bracelets on. So technically what should happen is that Hugo would have a temptation to go after every prisoner with a bracelet. Now they did show him a little later than this scene looking and seeing a group of prisoners. Right. But then he looks at Buck and looks at Jamie Lee Curtis, and they are closer. And it's almost like the AI in his head is saying, well, I can get those easier than going after this group. That's an interpretation on my part. But the fact of the matter is the bracelets are key because, as we know, at the end of the episode, if you switch the bracelet, Hugo goes after the person who is now wearing the bracelet. And that was clearly established.
Okay. Not necessarily the person specifically, but the bracelet itself.
It is absolutely, it's about the bracelet, which is why they make a big deal of putting the bracelet on Buck when he's going into the prison. And I did appreciate that. And by the way, I just want to say one thing to Kronos. It is not orange is the new black. It's actually flame scarlet, to use the proper name of the color on the jumpsuits. Flame scarlet is the new black. And I say that as an illustrator who has to know color names.
No, I actually had thought that the other guys were closer, the other escapees, but maybe you're right about that. I might miss that. Okay, go ahead.
It's actually when they get to the desert and you see Hugo looking at the other escapees, right? And then he sees Buck and what is the name of Jamie's character? I honestly can't. Jen.
Just call her Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. Why not? I mean, she's Jamie now. She's an icon. Let's just call her Jamie. But I did honestly feel that the show was trying to present a reason for Hugo going after Buck and Jamie. And there's a whole thing at the very, very end, the denouement period of the show, where she offers her bracelet to Buck and he says, oh, no, you keep it. And then we switch to the very end of the show.
Okay, Daisy, you had some. Go ahead.
I was going to say the bracelets are they did use bracelets in the episode where Buck was wearing it so that he and Wilma could let the other one know where they were if they were in trouble.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So they have shown, and then when the lady wanted to trap Buck, she took Wilma's bracelet off and put it on herself. So that Buck would come to her. So they have in the past shown a set of bracelets that do something like this.
I think what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, Daisy, is this is now an established trope within a trope within the show.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%. And it's setting up things to be easier for later, because the other thing we have in the following episode, which we'll get to later, I promise everybody, you have the pendant issue. So you have the bracelet issue in this episode, and then you have the pendant issue in the later episode. But also in this episode, we have a pendant issue because the pendant that Buck is given, which, by the way, has a Star Trek symbol on it, damn it, pisses me off all to hell. That's it is the explosive device. It is the thing that blows up and allows them to escape. But maybe at this point, before we go on too far on this one, this is a suggestion. I'm not asking. Maybe we move on to the chase through the desert.
We need to because since we spent so much time on other stuff, we need to get to the second episode. But that's okay because really this was like a filler episode, like we said. this was a good episode, but it just kind of moved it. There's not a lot to embellish because it just things just.
I don't have a
happen
lot of notes. I don't have a lot of notes on this episode.
Yeah, let's not belabor it tonight. And because we needed to come in, we all needed to laugh, to chat, joined us with the music and the other stuff. And it's cool. That's what I love. We're not about a fixed format around here. We have some fun with things. So if we go ahead and rush through this one, I don't mind at the end of it, because there's really not a lot. As brief as I was with the description, is really what it was a lot of running around the desert.
Yes.
They avoided the android. They avoided the
sand squid.
Oh,
sand squid.
We had one of that, which sounded like almost a precursor to the Sarlacc, but
I think that was a precursor to the Sarlacc. Honestly, no. This was made in 79.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a hell of a fact that Lucas has seen this episode. He likes the Buck Rogers series. He likes Flash Gordon. He said that Star Wars was basically his tribute to Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. So there's no way in hell Lucas had not seen the sand squid and thought, oh, wait a second, that could have been better.
Yes. Let me get my people to work on that.
Oh, Tara Buckman.
Yeah,
hair.
We got 10 people. We got 10 people with us. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you follow us on Twitch and subscribe here and like the videos here. Let's try to see if we could get one more tonight. One more subscriber. We'll finally be at 525. But hey, thank y'all for being here with this. Yeah, Chronos.
I need to ask Daisy a question. Okay, now look at Tara Buckman here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, on your own personal browser, using any search engine you like, look at Jamie Lee Curtis in this episode. Would you not agree they were both equally beautiful and desirable?
I gotta find a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis in this episode. Oh,
right here.
We're gonna do. Oh, there we go.
It is the tomboy versus the femme fatale, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, and and of course the hair is feathered all the way down, whereas the blonde has longer hair that she feathers the top of it back.
Yes.
See? And then it's straight at the bottom, whereas Jamie has the curlier, feathered all the way down. Yeah, I see. She looks more
tomboy,
but even an innocent in that specific look on her face would be. I'm a little more tomboyish, but she looks much more like an innocent person. Like innocent point. As in not as in she didn't commit the crime. Innocent.
No, that's an excellent point.
But that mirror. But see, that mirrors what this episode is, because she was wrongly convicted, but she also took the fall for Pantera, who was her
because she
boyfriend.
was in love. Because she was in love, and she did not. In fact, this is directly in the script of the episode. She did not engage in Pantera's crimes, but she took the fall for him. Now, Tara's character, named Majel, she was involved in the crime. She is the naughtier gal. Naughtier,
and she looks that way with the look, that the way she presents, and the how her eyes, even the makeup to make her look a little more. There are cues so that you can look at characters and go,
like musical cues,
right?
You understand.
Correct. So you feel as if, well, this person, even if I don't know the story, this person seems like the more innocent person. This seems like someone who would be, on the bad guy team or somewhere like that. You can sort of pick those things up from the way they do the costumes, their hair, the makeup that they're wearing.
And the actress's portrayal of the characters.
And that is correct, because you have to be a good you can have all of that. And if the actor or actress acts like they're a plank of wood, it won't matter what you have done. They can wear and hair and makeup, and you're still going, no thank you. So yes, always the acting is awesome. But I was just looking at the still photos, if that's all, you hadn't seen the episode. you can get visual cues from the
But
way they.
but that was a good point you said there, though, the innocence in the picture,
Yes.
because that was
Mhm.
that was a whole thing, because Hewer knew she was innocent. Even the
Yes.
diplomat knew she was innocent. Well, we know why now, because he knew of all of Pantera's dealings that was actually making the ambassador rich in this episode. So, let's talk about that real quick so we can move on from this episode. Though it's
Mhm.
like we get the revelation. We knew about Pantera and Jen and all that whole triangle, and basically to try to meet up with Wilma, with avoiding the android. So I mean that kind of is okay. It just kind of moves. It is what it is. But they did keep going in the background one other story, which was the corruption that the
Yes.
master was feeding the pirate the shipping documents and stuff so that he could raid them, and that we see that corruption. And there was a guy that was very close to Dr. Hewer, and and that Hewer was the one that had confronted him in the
with compassion, though, with compassion.
Yeah.
He confronted him with compassion. He is an old friend. This guy thought that he was going to have a huge place in history, helping out the entire interconnected galactic communities, and he didn't rise to the task, and so he started taking the money from the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard thing to live with, and that happens in real life all the time. But I actually thought those were some of the more salient and emotionally satisfying moments in this episode, Dadman.
Yeah, I mean they were huge events, but I think it really helped make it a complete episode, though.
Yes,
where it wasn't just running around chasing people, but we
but
can
to
see
also
why the
back up.
change was. Go
But
ahead.
for you and Daisy, when you watch the episode very closely, you appreciate the actresses very much, because the smiles that Tara Buckman gives is someone who is just in love with her gangster boyfriend and doesn't understand. As Jen, otherwise known as Jamie Lee Curtis, says, "You will be next." She says that twice in the episode. You're the next one, because she just realized she got screwed over by this guy. And when the few times Buck actually says, "Do you ever smile?" And then Jamie Lee Curtis smiles in this innocent, gentle way, like, "Oh, okay, you get me. I'm not as hard as you think I am." But the situation comes down to someone who is innocent and got screwed over versus somebody, her alternative, who is not innocent and thought she was equal in the game, being the girlfriend of the gangster, shall we say. And she doesn't realize she's just as innocent and dim-witted. She just is too arrogant to realize it. And so the facial expressions are very different, and we must give credit to the actresses for that.
Yeah. Well, see, and actor and actress. And so, why do gals like bad boys? I don't know. Why do they put every good guy as as their clinical psychologist, and then go back to the bad boys all the time? I don't know. Hell, that's a mystery from friggin' high school. That's why I became a Duran Duran fan. Too many Friday nights at home with nothing to do. So hey,
we can't answer that, but we can't answer that on this stream. It'll be a late night with Dadman and Friends stream when we squirrel. Exactly. Then we can answer that.
Oh, if I'm in a mood for a rant, you're going to hear ranting of all questions. But at least I got lucky one time in my life, and that's the great thing.
Yep,
Yay,
this is wonderful.
Yay, Mrs.
Exactly.
I love it.
Overall, with this episode, I think it was a good episode. It was entertaining. It sounds like you said, it was a filler episode. Wasn't earth-shattering great. It really does not. Yeah. Wait till we get Unchained on some rants late night. Yes, exactly, Kronos. But I thought it was a good episode overall for one that did not really advance the whole narrative or the Buck Rogers lore. Really, it was an entertaining episode. It was good. It kept my interest. Well, it's definitely better than anything than Ahsoka.
No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at how right you are. I was laughing with you, not at you.
I know, because but I mean, like nowadays we get this stuff like in Ahsoka. It's like it did nothing for the lore, did nothing, but God, you just bored me for 45 minutes.
Dude, and Daisy's going to get this joke, I think. I don't know because I haven't spoken to Daisy about X-Men stuff, but you have no idea how easy it is for you being a Star Wars fan versus an X-Men fan. Okay? I mean, when it comes to the mutants in the Marvel Universe, and I'm talking the comic book stuff and other stuff, dude, they've been screwed over far worse than Star Wars has.
Yeah.
But that's another show for another time.
So, Hungry, overall, what did you think in a general sense with this one? I'm not really asking us for our big things like we do this week, but just kind of just overall.
I give it a 7 out of 10. It could have been a 10 out of 10 if they were not rushed. And the one thing I will say, though, is I give it 7 instead of 6 because the guy who played Hugo, he would like knock a tree down that was not getting in his way or a tumbleweed that was not getting in his way. He was kicking rocks in the desert that were not in his way. He was just so pissed off that Buck had escaped.
Exactly. His job, that was his job. That was his mission. Yeah.
He was a bad prison guard. It was fantastic.
Well, that's funny. We got 10 people with us here. So, and that's BS. Nice guys can be unpredictable too when given a chance. And to tell you what, some of us nice guys have a dark side that just got to get to know that dark side.
Okay. Speaking of dark sides, we have to talk about the weepy, waily, little snivelly dark side in this episode.
Oh, that little
Sandweiler. Sandweiler. Sergio Sandweiler. What a name. They chose that name very specifically. Hilarious. He was hilarious. You might have heard of me. He uses that joke 3 times in the episode.
He reminded me of Joe Isuzu from the car commercials, except when Buck confronted him, he like, okay. He's like, when he finally met somebody stronger, he knew not to fight. He could not push further.
And also, to be honest, this is something I really liked about the episode, and this is where the writer was paying attention. He knows how to negotiate. He negotiated Buck to a disadvantage. He negotiated Pantera to a disadvantage. Yep. He actually, I mean, at the end of the episode, he's not lost any money. No one took the money back. He survived. He came out ahead. A minor villain in the episode came out ahead. That is great.
Exactly.
It's like Boba Fett.
That hasn't happened in the episodes prior. The little squirrely guys on the side. Yeah, you're stuck on a planet or whatever, and too bad. So sad.
And Daisy, it doesn't happen in any of the episodes afterwards either.
No bummer.
Kronos is asking, that's a name. Yeah, it was a name.
Yeah, that's a name.
Yeah.
It's his real name, Sergio Sandweiler. That is the name of the character. Hello, I'm Sergio Sandweiler. You might have heard of me. No? Oh.
He reminded me of a John Lovitz type actor character. John, if you recasted that for modern, John Lovitz would be, that's the ticket. Yeah, it's just like,
Well, actually, the guy who played Sergio Sandweiler has a huge amount of credits. But he's a character actor, so they're all small, sadly. They're all small. Yeah, he deserved a bigger role. But I'm going to shut up about this episode now. Daisy, anything you want to say? And Dadman, then you go on.
Nope, I'm good.
I want to get back a second. I want to only because I want to explore that actor just a second. I want to see who the actor was. If it gives a,
I think I got that.
Burt Rosario. Burt Rosario.
And he did an amazing range of material too. He worked in children's television. He worked in commercials. He did a huge amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Are you seeing his credits right now? You looking at that?
Yeah, The Neighbors, 2012. He was an episode of ER. Charm. It looks like character.
Oh, Kronos, Explorin is a combination of Australian Explorin, Mike, and Southern, hey, we're going to go exploring.
Yeah.
That's what exploring is in the accent I was using. I love Kronos. He's got a great sense
He's
of
known
humor.
for roles in Remington Steele.
Yes.
He was in Hand Rocks the Cradle. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing to where it puts it out a little bit better, but it's Yeah, we really got a lot of good stuff there. It looks like I just can't get it print out in a good format. But it's talked about like the Neighbors, Night Walkers, Boston Legal,
Yes.
Charmed. It was in all these as an episode. So see all. Let's see. Let's go down for
The
that.
term in the acting community
Ally
is not just.
McBeal from one
Yeah.
episode.
Oh, I watched a lot of Ally
He was
McBeal.
Seinfeld. He was in
Yes.
6 episodes in
Yes.
Chicago Hope.
Yes. The guy's a journeyman actor, so he's more than a character actor. He's a journeyman actor. And that's Daisy will know this term, journeyman musician as well. Where you play with many bands. You play with many bands and you're on many stages. The guy is fantastic. I don't know why he didn't get bigger.
I mean, 3 episodes of BJ and the Bear from the 70s, 80s. He actually appeared in Galactica 1980.
Ah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So hey, he goes a long way back. So
Oh, my battery's dying. Hold on. Give me a
Okay.
second.
all right, well, we will make the transition to the other episode. We got 11 people with us tonight. Thank y'all for being here. And we spent a half hour on a detour at the beginning, which is awesome. We love doing that. But thanks for being here with us. We are going to introduce the next episode, which is Planet of the Amazon Women, episode number 10. And a lot of people did not see Galactica 1980. Apparently, a lot of people did not like it, but hey, I'd like to try it sometime. But Planet of the Amazon Women was episode number 10, directed by Philip Leacock, written by D.C. Fontana and Richard Fontana, aired November 8th, 1979, episode 53413. Buck helps 2 sisters, and we see it right at the beginning, whose ship is found adrift above the planet Xantia. After towing them home, a man named Cassius Thorne takes Buck into custody and sold him into auction as a mate to the Prime Minister's daughter, Ariella Dine. Buck learns from other male prisoners that Thorne has a lucrative business in kidnapping men to sell to the women of his planet. Since most of the planet's males were either captured or killed in a war with the neighboring planet Ruatha. After meeting Ariella, Buck finds the girl strongly opposed to the slavery and plans to end her mother's reign. Meanwhile, Wilma arrives looking for Buck and learns that Ariella is planning to meet the Ruathan leader, and expose the truth that Xantia has no warriors. So basically, Wilma tries to stop Ariella before the fragile political repercussions drag Earth into war as well, folks. Because this also stars Ann Dusenberry as Ariella Dine, Jay Robinson as who I recognize as Cassius Thorne. Let's see, Wendy Oates as Rena, Liberty Godshaw as Nairi. Really no other big names there. Ann Jeffries as Prime Minister Dine. This episode just starts with Buck in space talking to Wilma about dinner, and then all of a sudden there's a distress call that goes out from a ship, and they're like, okay, is it whatever? And so they're like, I bet he's hot and stuff. And so they put the video on and saw it's a man's voice. And so he offered to come aboard, they said, no, you can't do that, this, that, and the other. So that ends up with him driving them to a planet that was forbade Earth ships to land on. Otherwise, you'd be shot down. But because they were bringing them down, they gave permission for them to land. Also, framed just after that and framed in the background is that the Earth is having peace talks with Dr. Hewer, Dr. Theopolis, with the leaders of planet Ruatha. I forgot the evil computer's name. Yeah, the evil. Yeah, they met. Dr. Theopolis is negotiating with Mr. De Bronin from the planet Ruatha to continue to explore barabite, which is a necessary mineral on the planet Madria is dominated by the Ruathan. So, and then we see that the distress call goes out. And so you have this intergalactic political drama on the back of, in connection with the introduction of this scene. So, Hungry, what do you think here? You got more on this. So let's follow you tonight. Let's see what you got to say, what you want to talk about on this episode. And we'll go with that tonight. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm just going to warn people. I have significantly more notes on this episode than the previous one, because even though the previous episode is more fun, all right, this episode is far better written. And that is really important to science fiction. And Daisy understands science fiction versus science fantasy. Okay, so like, I just want you to appreciate that, man. Sometimes people like Daisy and I, we need more of the science fiction.
Oh, I agree with you. Like, I need the pew pew. You know, I agree. The last episode didn't have a lot of pew pew. It had some. This one has even less. But you know, I got you. It's all good.
But sometimes, if the writing is more salient, if the writing gives you more of what emotionally you need as a kid or an adult, then you can forget that there's no pew pew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to look at the way the writing happens. The writing is very much similar, and Daisy will obviously understand this, to a proper symphony where you have the beginning, the middle, and the end. And this one had a magnificent beginning, middle, and end. We have a great opening, and it warms up very quietly. We don't know where it's going. And we have a little bit of a misdirect. But if that is corrected within 20 minutes in a 48-minute show, that's fine. This was corrected within 15 minutes if you take out the commercial time. So it opens quietly, but the plot, the real plot, does not take as long to appear. And before the real plot appears, we have naughty, naughty, naughty space gals in super sexy costumes.
Yay.
And they had a magnificent bad girl rapport between each other. And that gets our attention. But while they are getting our attention, they are bringing up things that are going to be very important to the script and the plot later. It's not something that's just presented and thrown away. It is something that becomes a major aspect of the plot, which makes the sexiness better, because brains plus sexiness, as you understand because of the missus and you're married to her, that is always better.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting to watch this episode as it transpired, you know, because when they get down to left to the hangar, you know, the uncle meets them out there, and Buck's like, "Hey, I gotta get out of here. They don't want me around here." And so they did the little pull the strings thing and stuff, and then, you know, and of course, you know, you see, you know, you start to see them whine, because they're starting to wine and dine Buck over in actually what turned out to be the prime minister's apartment. You know,
yes,
not just an average place. They took them to
before we go there, dude.
Okay.
Before we go there, this is in honor of JT, who is always focused on the visual designs of the spaceships and the other physical environs that the spaceships inhabit. We have a fantastic little spaceship design from the Xantians, who are the main non-human characters in this episode. And it's very different to every spacecraft design we've seen beforehand on this show. And the landing bay is significantly different visually as well. Before we see these two pseudo sisters, maybe they are sisters, we don't know. Maybe it's part of the con job, but you know, they've got the situation with one of the great character actors, Jay Robinson, who was, and I don't think Daisy will know this, I apologize, Daisy, but he was referred to as the poor man's Michael Goff. And Michael Goff, of course, played the mad scientist in Conga, but he was also the original Alfred in the first Batman films from 1989 onward. And Jay Robinson is a great character actor, but he was never given proper opportunities. And in this one, as Cassius Thorne, the slave master, he is magnificent. I adore him. He's wonderful. He played Dr. Shrinker for the Sid and Marty Krofft show. Dr. Shrinker, you might remember that, Daisy. And the one thing is, if you've seen Dr. Shrinker or any of the other kids shows he was on where he was always typecast as a villain, okay, you would immediately know, oh, okay, he's talking to Buck and he's pretending to be nice. We know this guy's a bad guy.
That was the other thing with some of the TV shows is it was very typecast. So, either the person was trying to be a bad guy, but you knew they were going to turn out to be a good guy, and vice versa. And it didn't matter how good the actor was at playing the good guy or the bad guy in the beginning. Your brain kicked into, at some point, they're going to go play the character they always do.
Right. And that is what happened all the time. It's not his fault, but Jay Robinson, you take the jobs you can get. You take the jobs you can get. And I thought he played in this one, at least he was given a huge amount of humor to work with within the dialogue. And the writing was done by someone with a hell of a lot more credits than the guy who wrote the last episode, let me tell you. And a lot of good dialogue in those episodes. But the thing that'll be interesting to Dadman would be that this episode is very similar to certain plots that you see in World War II TV shows or World War II movies. The plot can basically, if you take the sci-fi out of it, you can translate that into what was happening in World War II, or even more importantly, what was happening, and I think you may know exactly what I'm talking about, Daisy, the Sand and Sandal barbarian movies from Italy from the 50s all the way to the early 70s, where they take certain historical elements where, let's be honest, the S word for someone who is forced to work without their consent, and I'm using code here, you know what I mean? That is a major portion of those movies, but that is a major aspect of this episode as well. And I think they handled it most adroitly. And I was very impressed with it. I wanted to like the previous episode more than this one, but I like this episode 10 times more.
Well, that's why you watch an episode. You don't just read the synopsis and go, oh no, I'm going to like this one better. You got to actually watch the episode.
Yes, and this is worth watching, particularly if you enjoyed the voices of actors, because you have throughout the entire episode, and I think Dadman's going to agree with me, because he doesn't admit it much, but he is actually very sensitive to the vocal intonations of actors. He really is, because he's got art in his soul. That's why he chose his wife, or she chose him, depending on how you look at it. But
she knocked me down and dragged me out the door by the hair. So that's what happened.
You had long hair back then, huh?
No, I had a buzz cut. I like my hair short. But see, there's a theme that Daisy came up with a while back about all the women in the episode and the common servant girls and things like that. Well, this episode, we got to see a juxtaposition in a different way. We got to see the dude. We even got no shirt. And how scandalous was this in the 70s?
Well,
even the guy with it.
I was going to say,
we're a bit older than you, Dadman. We know. Daisy knows. Roger Corman movies. Roger Corman movies.
Well, at least you didn't say Ron Jeremy, so we're all good. But hey, with this here, though, we got the bad guy right there with Buck. We see this, and you can tell Buck's pissed off. But this thing, it's the same act. Actually, he's as pissed off about when the ladies are held against their will than when this situation was.
You are leaving out an important part that came before this. Dang it. You keep doing this. I love you, but you keep doing this. You have the situation, which is so James Bond, but in reverse.
The drinks and the yes, the drinks. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry.
He knew what was going on, and that's why the Prime Minister. Okay, let me back up for the chat.
Okay, let me hide the shirt so Daisy doesn't have to look at that much longer. So go ahead.
The situation is at this point, Buck does not know exactly what's going on, but we know there is a humans being sold for purposes they do not agree to situation going on. Now, Buck knows something's going on, and he has not taken the damn drinks, the blue brandy, and he's not eating the food either. And when you have the people, one played by Jay Robinson, the other played by the magnificent actress who plays the prime minister of this planet, Xantia. She is actually saying, yes, he is aware of what is going on. That makes him more appealing to me. Although it's not for her, it's for her daughter. She's buying Buck, intending to buy Buck for her daughter. Now that is a nice script twist. That is good writing.
Yeah, using the men. See, it's not just the men that do that. So, and let me say hello to Phantom Outsider.
Hey, Betty!
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Shrinker. Dr. Shrinker. He's a madman with an evil mind. The Shrinker. He's as crazy as you'll ever find.
No. He didn't put the musical notes there. Dr. Shrinker. He's a madman with an evil mind. That's part of the theme song of the show.
The theme song, yeah.
Of what show?
Dr. Shrinker. It's an actual show from
Really?
70s kids television. I'm not kidding you.
Not kids television?
Yes, children's television. Dr. Shrinker is a ripoff of
never heard of
Oh, dude, you were
never heard of Dr.
You're such
Shrinker.
a
Was
you're
that
a
something
virgin.
Well, be that way, you Brit.
It's an American
Brit
show.
Cast off. No,
He's a Nazi.
Oh,
I'm
really?
the Brit. Get this straight.
All right.
Nice one, Daisy.
He's a wannabe Brit. So, but yes, but no,
Well, maybe we
want.
want to be Aussies. Like, you never know.
That's true,
I
but I'll
remember
never tell
Croft.
you the truth, Daisy. I'll never tell you the truth.
I remember Croft Superstars. Yeah, Croft. Yeah, there's all kinds of Croft shows back then.
Land of the Lost.
God,
Land of the Lost.
Mhm.
That was the best Croft super show ever because it was pure science fiction.
Yep.
Pure
What
science
was
fiction.
the crazy 70s induced chemical thing with the lizard that sang and the kid that had the flute that talked and
Oh
Marty,
my God.
that
oh my
one.
God. Puffin stuff.
puffin stuff.
Hey, Jar, puffin
Yeah,
stuff.
we were
Oh,
puffing
Mrs.
and
loved that.
stuffing, all right.
You were puffing some stuff, and so,
We were
hey,
definitely.
And Daisy,
God.
the one that was even worse was Lidsville because hats have lids, and it was about living hats. And there was a kid that entered into the realm of the living hats. That was
Kronos,
even more
I'm saying
weird
the
than
same
Puffin
thing
stuff.
about Daisy tonight. I'm saying the same thing about Daisy tonight. That
It
poor
was-
little-
okay, can we roll the train back? Did I explain there was one television in the living room?
Right.
We were lucky where I lived. There were 5 channels that you could, and if whatever you wanted to watch wasn't one of those 5 shows, you went outside and played.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
So
it
we
was
watched things like puffin stuff.
Hey, Daisy.
your
Daisy, in
comments about
Australia.
puffing stuff was what got me.
Oh
laughing.
well, you should have seen the show, and you would not have even thought you just go.
No,
I agree."
I'm gonna share. He's not gonna watch it, but I'm gonna share it with him. I'm gonna share Puffin stuff with Dadman later. Okay, he's
Okay.
not gonna watch it. He's gonna
the
look at
missus
3.
will want to watch it with us. Yeah.
Oh, she'll
Mrs.
make you watch it.
Yeah, Mrs. loves puffing stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, there was so much acid-induced crap in the 70s that
Yes,
were
the 70s was a very different time.
So the
Very
thing
different.
is, 70s was acid, 80s was cocaine. That's the way it worked.
Probably, and which probably. Sorry, I had something in my mouth. We probably should
That's
not
okay.
discuss that on YouTube.
No, we're not talking about that. But the thing is, like, you look at what is made as science fiction action as Predator, totally different to what was going on back in the 70s.
Get in the chopper. Get in the chopper.
No, the best one, and I'm going to use a swear jar here. I'm paying $5 into my swear jar, but
Okay.
you are one ugly motherfucker.
Yep. Yeah.
Great
and
line.
I love the way it repeated that line back. It was crazy.
Yes. Yeah, it
Yes.
repeated back.
Which
So
showed it was an intelligent alien,
Yeah.
just like the people here. The Zontians are incredibly intelligent, but also in an awful way, because the Dadman loves World War II and other things. The thing is, the Ruathans, now that's the people who are talking to Dr. Theopolis. They're an intelligent AI design, and they are in control of the humans. Now, that's a pretty nasty thing to bring out in 1979. Daisy knows what I mean. That's nasty.
That even predates Terminator days, but
oh yeah,
but, you know,
Terminator was 84. This was
like
79.
you said, I gotta go to your James Bond school, because you know, you are right. The way that whole scenario was in the lounge, and you know, in the apartment, and he knew that something was up. He stalled, wouldn't drink the drink, and you know, really, and then of course the fight. You know, he did pretty good. The women were pretty good, and then they zapped him with their little whatever the thing was. You know, so I can see now you said about the James Bond.
Oh yeah, and we also have. Let's remember, Charlie's Angels had started several years before this.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a Charlie's Angel moment where Gil Gerard as Buck is setting up the other prisoners to escape from the prison cell, but you have only three women versus 7 men, and they take them out, and they do it effectively in terms of the visual schematics of it. And it is believable, because one thing that was set up beforehand, because this is good scripting versus crap scripting, is you have it stated directly that probably 10% of the male population on Xantia is surviving after the war with the Ruathans.
Right.
And that means that you're going to have to train these women to be able to fight and be prison guards, etc.
It was believable with the way they did it. They were competent. They knew how to handle their weapons. You know, it's not like a lot of the modern crap. I mean, we've seen a lot of the stuff in the older shows. We've had this stuff before. People act like it was never there. And they actually had control over the guys. I mean, it wasn't like they did a physical fight. I mean, usually they won the physical fight. It took a weapon or something else to subjugate them, but it was, you know, it was valid. It was believable. And, you know, again, a strong planet full of strong women with this. And then we see the prime minister, her plan with everything.
You're forgetting something. I'm sorry. I don't.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you're forgetting that they had strong men on their planet, but the Ruathans, very similar to people who would colonize other planets, they had a fight, they had a war. It's stated very directly in the script. Yeah. They had a war, and most of the men died. So the women have to take up those roles. And I'm not sounding woke here, but you know,
no, you're not. That's my point. That's what I say is, it really was ahead of its time. It did this, did it in the right way without being preachy, overhanded. It was believable. It's like a lot of the Wonder Woman shows at that time, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's done in a way where, or even Ripley and Alien, you know, it's that type of thing. They knew how to write the strong women characters. They knew how to bring the women out and stuff like that without it being trite, pandering, and just, you know, ridiculously unbelievable. We didn't have the Wonder Rays and the, oh my God, how did this happen? You know, it just, you know, did it. They made it right, and it was well written and acted.
Well, in World War II, when the men went off to war, you know, you still had to build things. You still had to test the planes or this or that or the next thing. And so the women that stayed behind started to learn to do the jobs that the men had done. And in this case, the men are permanently gone. Right. So yeah, they have to step up, and they have to take care of themselves.
And to back you up on that, Daisy, there are 2 aspects of this particular episode, and I appreciate it because, again, it's not only going back to things that are World War II, but it's also going back to things that are in the 1770s to the 1870s in the United States with the abolitionist movement, where no, we can't have slaves anymore. It's simply, it doesn't matter what it means to the economy. It doesn't matter what it means to our fighting forces. It is simply ethically wrong. We cannot have this anymore. And so you have Ariella, who is the daughter of the prime minister of the planet where most of this episode takes place on, saying, I'm sorry, mother, you are wrong.
Yeah.
And that is incredibly powerful. And I just want to bring up, there's one line here. I'm just looking up for the one line. I wrote it in my notes. Oh, yes. No, that's not the line. Sorry. I misspoke. But, oh, geez.
Well, okay. While you're looking that up, I just wanted to point out that harkens back a bit to the planet where the ruler or the guy in charge for the food biscuits, and then his son. So the ruler is kind of, we're fine, we eat fine. These other people are servants, and who cares what they do or don't do. And his son was stepping up and saying,
right,
no, you're wrong. You're not seeing what's going on here.
Absolutely. Oh, God, I can't believe I can't find this in my notes, but
it's okay. It'll come to you.
Oh, no, here it is. Yes. The propagate the myth that there are more men than the Ruathans think is very similar to the World War II tactic of using fake tanks to fool the enemy. And I love that. I think that was brilliant for someone to bring up. And she had other lines as well. And a lot of the major debate lines happened woman to woman. And this before a certain person who is a pseudo cartoonist we won't mention, who invented a certain test for, how many women speak to women without speaking about men. Okay. That yes. This before that individual created that joke, this show did it for real and had it publicized, and it worked within the confines of what the script required. And I find that delicious for 1979 science fiction.
Yep.
When there was no like me politics to deal with. And to do that and put that into a script line for the sake of the story is actually magnificent.
Well, and they did things so well because the modern feminism is not what it was in the 70s. I'm just going to say it that way. Okay, not the same at all. So back in the 70s, quote unquote, women's livers were just trying to get equality. If I do the same job, pay me the same amount of money. And if I'm capable of, say, being a fireman, then let me do that. That was the big thing. So since that was a big thing going on in the society at the time, for women to have this sci-fi, because sci-fi was a safer place to do that, because it's sci-fi and this is 500 years from now, and so we can put these things in, and not to be progressive like it is now. It wasn't in your face. It just, they did it. And it was so well written that you didn't even think about it as being quote unquote preached to.
Right.
You just went, oh, I'll just take that for granted. Yeah, this is fine.
I agree with that. I would say I would change the word preached to nagged, because you know what I mean. But my mother was a very progressive person, and there's progressive and fake progressive. And those are two very different things. Right now we got fake progressive versus progressive. And real progressive actually agrees with most people who don't like fake progressive. And it's an irony, and I can't help that. Help that. But the situation would be that, to back up completely what Daisy is saying, equality is not the same as removing someone else's agency. And that is a big difference.
No.
Correct.
So And it's fair of skipping too far ahead again. So we get the auction scene here. Like I said earlier, it was just amazing the contempt in his voice for the whole process, and he's as mad as one type of servitude as for one gender as it is the other gender, and it comes through. Really anger. Stuff like it really did. It was it was actually kind of funny to see Daisy. I think in the first episode, a couple of episodes, you're like, is this a common theme with all the ladies in this position? And now here we go, we get shirtless Gil Gerard. Hey, here's one for the ladies.
Hey, Daisy. Mm-hmm. Jason Momoa got nothing on Gil Gerard. Shirtless. I'm kidding, Daisy.
I have no comment.
Oh man, I
think I've pointed out Gil Gerard is not quite my cup of tea. That doesn't mean that he's not a very good specimen.
Time.
Yes,
for the time.
Yes. Well, all I know is Daisy has a cheeky side. So hey,
she does.
There, yes, she does.
She does.
Apparently she's got a heavy metal side too. I didn't know about.
But this brings up a joke that Daisy will understand, and I understand, and possibly Dadman will understand, where Tweaky actually gets pissed off at one of the human servants of Debronin, and he pinches the butt cheek of that guy when that guy is ignoring Tweaky as an equal. He's pretending Tweaky doesn't matter and just bumps into Tweaky. And Tweaky then grabs his ass with his little pincer fingers and refers to it as tweaking, which also, that was one word for it. Also in the 70s, it was called goosing, when you goose somebody.
Yep.
And that's no longer acceptable. I do not approve of it, but it did happen back in the 70s, and you would goose somebody. And I thought that was a wonderful moment in the film, considering the time it was produced in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other things that are really interesting in terms of the dialogue that some people won't get because they're not aware of what is referred to as Yiddish English, which was a major part of television dialogue and lexicon at the time. Mm-hmm. Whereas we have chutzpah. What is that? A disease? And the line is more funny if you understand what chutzpah means. Okay. And every writer in Hollywood at that point, whether they were goyim, such as I am, or not, they would understand what that word meant. They would understand what chutzpah meant. And it was very common in day-to-day parlance at that time. Oh, you got some chutzpah, boy chick. We would get that because we had heard these terms used in common vernacular and common conversation at the time. So to have that put into a conversation between Buck and the princess, shall we say, the daughter of the prime minister, was very, very appropriate. Very appropriate.
Right.
Sorry, I got too deep there.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good. We got 10 people still with us. Hey, thank you for everybody being here. We're almost on 2 hours. So with this episode, though, we see here, we get this. They try to overtake the women. They stop them. Then we see the prime minister's daughter has Buck. It reveals to him the whole problem. That the men went off. They died. Of course, they had to leave the apartment because they were being spied on. So they go out and they still got followed and spied on, but she reveals what had happened with the war, the destruction of the male population, and what they're doing. And then she indicated she hated the practice and stuff too, and he's kind of indignant, but then he's like, oh, okay, he finally understands. But then again, then she talks him into the plan to go, which essentially they just drew back to take over the ship with the other guys that have been negotiated, the Ruthenians, I think, and as a plan, to try to force a settlement, force a negotiation, and they and it really happened, that. So yeah, it was really interesting to see with that. Of course, then we had the drama at the end that Wilma did her own little lying to get down on the planet. She just forced her way in and faked a problem. She but she finally got captured, taken to the prime minister, and then the prime minister said what was going to happen, or she was going to tell she told the prime minister what was going to happen if Buck wasn't stopped. And it was interesting to see that from this standpoint of the prime minister, who was so focused on the mail trade and this, that, and the other, when she realized her daughter was going to start something even bigger, she's like, okay, this has to stop. It's like she came to a realization, okay, let Wilma go, try to stop it, to catch up with them and avoid a major intergalactic incident. Any thoughts on that?
It was war. They said that directly in the episode.
I know. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be polite with the way I said. I'm trying to use big words.
I'm kidding you.
So, but yeah. But,
I mean, the thing that we're avoiding saying here is that De Bronen, if you look at that name, it's actually very Dutch sounding, and the Dutch are the Dutch, not the Germans. The Dutch are the people that settled, shall we say? That's a specific word that De Bronen used. We settled this planet. We have the right to control it. The Dutch settled South Africa, which means apartheid. So I hate to bring up a bad word, but it was a very big word in the 80s, and it was starting to become a big word.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. This episode is to science fiction what All in the Family was to neighborhood sociology, in my opinion. This is a very deep episode.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I do not doubt that, and it does. But I will say this goes back to the beauty, I think, of the 70s and 80s shows is they dealt with social issues. They dealt with a lot of political issues, but they did it in ways that were somewhat the highbrow or smarter, or they raised it to the debate to a higher level, not just everybody on this side is bad or everybody is,
it was adult, not childish, is what I think you're saying in a way.
Yeah,
regarding
you had to think about things.
It was also much better written.
Yes.
Rather than beating you over the head like you are a 5-year-old and we need you to understand this, so we're just going to keep harping and we have no creative writing skills whatsoever, they could do this and make it interesting for the whole family.
Yes.
And appeal to the older people who got it and appeal to the younger people who got it as well, without feeling like, okay, these are people trying to teach me something
or nag me
about things. Yeah,
teaching is not nagging, and
True.
with some, what I mean, and I don't need to explain it. You cannot teach by nagging. Nagging will create a cognitive resistance, and you know what I mean by cognitive resistance.
Yes.
And in order to teach something, you must, in a way, show an example, which is, I don't like using this word, but it's the best word I can use, a parable. And I think you know what I mean. But you can have a parable that is non-religious. You can have a parable that is actually just sociological or anthropological. And this episode did that to a great extent, I felt. And the beauty of it is you even have moments that, with a proper parable, you lighten it up with the humor. So we have the grilled cheese sandwiches moment. You even have a moment where Jay Robinson, who is the guy who is the auctioneer, shall we say.
By the way, here's your grilled cheese sandwich scene.
Right. And I want to stress again, that's not her real hair, and she was suffering through her hair being dyed to make it that color through most of the episodes. And that's why you see her hair being brunette for the most part in season 2 and a couple of times in season 1. But Erin Gray was a real trooper. She was a real trooper.
Yeah, she looks mean, but that was the toughness. It's a genuine toughness,
I don't think she looks mean. I think she looks determined.
But she was serious there. But still, it mean, determined, whatever. It pulls off effectual. Well,
yes.
Pick your word,
Nice.
whatever. Mean,
yeah.
serious,
Don't
whatever.
mess with me. I mean it.
Because I've seen that look in women when they're really. That's when they're deep breathing.
Oh God!
And it's like, yeah, I've overstepped. That can be a mean look too at times. But she's very serious, very focused. Again. Yeah, take that much more convincing than Ray Palpatine doing whatever Ray Palpatine does. But I mean, I'm being serious. I'm serious with I think it's a credit not just the writing, but the actors and actresses to pull this, to really come through like that.
Well,
actually, she means to be mean. Yeah, she was being very serious right there because she's trying to get. I think it was the auctioneer she was coming after to figure out what's going on.
Yes, it was,
and
but
she wasn't playing around.
That could have been. This is the thing about good writing, is there are moments in the story where she might be real, she might be faking, but we don't know. But it's about Buck, and to her, Buck is incredibly important, and the whole situation about a potential war with another cybernetic race is incredibly important. That's good science fiction. It's also good war movie. So this is simultaneously science fiction, but it's also very much the Guns of Navarone, if you know what I mean.
Let me ask you a question. Is this consistent with the early days of the comics? About her looking out for Buck to that extent, her being that determined, that not necessarily me, but her that serious, that
After 2 years, yes, but you have to remember that the comic book series lasted for more than 26 years, and then the comics lasted for 16 years after that. So you're looking at over 35 years of material coming out every week or every month. So yes, I would say it is consistent.
Okay, I'm just curious. So, which gets back to keeping the spirit of the lore, the comics, and everything else along with it. So, all right. All right. Well, basically, then we see it. They race back. They board the ship, and they're sitting there negotiating because Dr. Hewer's like, "Get me more drinks, Twinkie," and he's like, "Oh crap!" Pooping in his pants when Dr. Theopolis is coming in and saying, "They're on the emergency line. You need to listen in." And then Buck starts laying down, and everybody's like, "This is wrong. This is ridiculous." Actually, I skipped a little ahead. Wilma actually had Buck shot at.
Yep.
And I think somewhere in there, she finally caught on to what he was doing. So then they did land, they did dock, and then they meet with and then they lay out.
But that goes.
But then again, also those. So Buck's negotiating terms that Hewer doesn't understand, and it's like giving away the farm. But we see a scene though back on the planet when they were talking about when the Prime Minister's daughter was revealing everything to Buck. That mineral that they were looking for.
Yes. But the other thing too, is we have to look at how well Wilma was actually at this point, this is rare at this point in the series, having a major conflict with Buck when they were getting ready to board de Bronin's ship, his shuttle. And they are having to argue for 2 minutes, which is very long in primetime sci-fi TV terms in 1979. That's a long time to have a dialogue situation. And she was equal to Buck in terms of the debate. They were completely equal, one and the other. And he to be honest, I hate to say this, he lost the debate because he had to just say, "Wilma, do you trust me? You've got to trust me." He didn't actually prove his argument. Wilma just had to make the executive decision to trust him. And that is a very important moment in television history. Very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, that's a ton of time for primetime television.
It was very rare in 1979, dude. Magnum PI, you did not see this crap happening in Magnum PI. The chick would be told she was wrong, and Magnum would prove that he was right. That was, and I'm not saying that is a wrong thing to do for Magnum PI, but I'm saying this was the right thing to do for this episode of this science fiction TV show in 1979. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. I like the way they did the drama there though with it. I mean, the guy actually shot him pretty good. It's like destroyed the defense, the starboard shields. It was really, really interesting to see. And then you were convinced they were going to shoot him, but then
Right.
And the major's like, okay, I'm going to finish him off. And then, no, hold it. And then, and then she realized that what he had in mind. And then, just, of course, I like the scene down on Earth with Dr. Hewer and Theopolis. It's like Twiki
With the
brings
green
a drink.
brandy.
Yeah, and then Hewer shoots that thing down in a hurry. He just shot that sucker. And he's like, Twiggie's like, what the? Even Twiggy was like, oh my gosh, and brought him another one. So it was hilarious to see that.
Well, I mean, Theopolis actually said, Tweaky, make it a double. He said that. That's a line in the show, and that was really funny. But the thing also is that I'm sorry I keep using that phrase. Yeah. One of the beautiful moments that again applies to 1960s or 1940s war and this show, because it's Glenn A. Larson who did Battlestar Galactica. I don't know why, but he's addicted to the war stuff, but I don't mind, okay, because he does it very well. You had the reunion between the women on Xantia and the men who had been taken prisoner by the evil robotics. And that was something that was clearly established must happen in the final negotiation on the shuttle. Right. And I thought that brought tears to my eyes last night when I was rewatching this. It really meant so much.
Well, let me go ahead and do this real quick. Daisy needs to leave.
Oh,
yes. Daisy, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's been lovely. Thank you so much. We get to do this again next week for 2 more episodes. And you guys have a lovely evening. It has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
You were delightful, Daisy, and all your points were completely comprehensive and intellectually adroit. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. And
Daisy, thank you for being here.
Okay.
Oh, I will see you Wednesday night, if not sooner. Remember?
Correct.
Because Wednesday night we'll be talking about Die Hard. Is it or is it not a Christmas movie? We'll be talking about the movie too, but we'll focus on that and let your opinions come prepared to argue in the chat, guys. But Daisy, thank you again. Have a great night's rest, and I'd love to chat for you, the private chat. But hope to, y'all have a good night, and hope everything's cool out there with you guys. Thank you, Daisy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Tim O'Connor. Tim O'Connor was Dr. Hewer.
Yes.
So, it's awesome. I like it. Come Wednesday night. Hungry? I want you to be in. Yeah, exactly, Hungry. I know. Come Wednesday night. Get a chance to argue in the chat and stuff like that. So,
I'll do my best.
Well, let's wrap up this episode, and then I don't know. We got 9 people here. I'm probably not going to stay up for Fortnite tonight. We'll just chat about stuff. You feel like chat, just a general chat?
You mean now or a bit later?
No, just now. We'll just roll it into a general chat.
No. I'd like to do that. I'd like to just close off a couple of things about the
exactly.
episode.
Let's do that because we have the negotiate. I did love the scene with Dr. Hewer drinking, like chugging the stuff at the end. Like that was hilarious. It's like he was out of character this episode to some degree. You see him a little nervous. You see him a little agitated. But he's starting to catch on to Buck's mannerisms and his words and stuff like that.
Yes.
So.
And the other thing I think you would appreciate is you look at Paul Gann, who played, I think it's Paul Gann, who played, his last name is Gann, who played DeBronin, all right? The other cybernetic organism, the opposite to Dr. Theopolis, right? And you look at his design, and it is very different to the design of Theopolis. His voice is different. His completely mannerisms.
Angrier, rougher.
He actually says near the end of the episode, I will, I have to rephrase this because it's YouTube. I will delete you. I will delete Rogers, and I will delete everyone else involved in this. That is awful. That is bloody awful. That's terrible. And yet it works completely for the episode. And we were allowed to have real villains back in 79 and 1980.
Well, it was interesting because he just really, It was a different. What did you say the actor's name was again?
Let me just have give me a sec. I got it right here. Give me 1 second. Oh, damn it. My screen just blew.
Yeah, he even had angry eyebrows. Yes.
Yes. Angry eyebrows. Absolutely. Oh dear. Hold on. I'll be right there. Stupid laptop. Okay. Planet of the Amazon Women. And the name. Oh, God damn it. It did it again. I'm sorry. Now I'm having like your issues.
It's okay. Well, let me see if I can find it over here.
No, I'll find it. I got it. Just give me a moment. Jay Robinson.
We'll put you on the clock.
Yeah. I can't believe this is happening to me. Oh, I'm generally so good at this.
Ron Gans.
Yeah, Ron Gans. Gans is the name.
But he played as an uncredited role, though, it looks like.
They did a lot of that back in the 60s.
What was the purpose of the uncredited roles, though?
Okay. This is going to be boring to a lot of people, and I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a minor role, it would cost a certain amount to get their credits up on the screen because we did not have digital technology to do that yet. It had to be done physically. It had to be done, the term is optically, and it would take at least 2 layers of film in order to have that happen on the screen for us to see on television. So there were tons. I mean, I'm not joking. More than 1,000 roles that went uncredited between 1959 and 1982. Mm-hmm. And it was only when the optics became cheaper that you started seeing more full credits being offered and being presented. So I honestly, I don't understand why they did not put his role up there in the credits, because he has a lot of speaking lines in this episode. It's not like he spoke 2 sentences and that was it. He spoke a lot of sentences. So I think it was purely an economic value basis. And you considering what you do for a living, you understand that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exactly.
I'm not saying it's fair. It's not fair, but I understand why I presume they did it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just weird, but hey. Any other thoughts with this episode before we talk about our overall feelings with it? Because those are the big memories that I had of things that we've talked about already. It's really interesting. We see a strong Wilma Deering. We see a bunch of strong women that actually were believable in being that.
Yes,
it truly was
understandable because also I will say one genteel thing, but then I will make a naughty comment because it is in some ways a naughty episode. The woman who played the prime minister, all right, and she's got a lot of credits, and Jeffries, and she did a remarkable job because it is an unlikable role. And she used to play likable women, and to play a ostensible villainess is very gutsy on her part. Very gutsy on her part. Now, to be naughty, you have who I refer to as the naughty twins.
Well, she passed away in 2017. She lived to be 94 years old.
She had good innings, as we say in Australia. She had good innings. But you have the naughty gals who tried to roofie Buck.
She was Cyrus Blassie in the Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, she's got some good sci-fi cred, not that much. But the 2 gals did a great job. They have very few roles, both of them, but I thought they did remarkably well in this episode. I really do. And they were, oh my God, there was more butt cheeks showing on the one in gold than you have seen in any Buck Rogers episode. And that took a little guts on the part of the production team, the costume designer, and the actress to let happen. And I appreciate them letting that happen because, see, it's not about the sexiness. They had to try to lure Buck in. And you remember at the beginning, before Buck saw them, they were using the sexy voice on him. And you know what I mean about the sexy voice.
Yeah. Well, the same contrast to the when Wilma came up.
Right.
As soon as they heard a female's voice, oh no, we're fine. It's okay.
Yeah. I had that in my notes. I'm glad you brought that up.
It's like, okay, we don't need it. Our engines magically started working. So hey,
Precisely. They had no interest at
it's like,
all.
screw you guys. We don't want you because you're a woman. So we want the guys.
They had a surplus of women at that point.
Exactly.
You, with your job, you understand the word surplus. You understand it. And those actresses did a remarkable job with what they were provided to do. But we have to give Gil Gerard credit. This was a difficult episode for someone like him to play as well as he played it. So I think all the men did as equally a magnificent job as the women. This is a true equality episode, and I give it an A++.
Ah, cool.
What grade would you give it?
I would maybe not at that high.
Not as high as Plot to Kill a City. I understand.
No.
Maybe B+, B minus. What?
I would say an A. I'd say it's a solid A.
Oh, yay! I'm happy.
I would still say a solid A. I mean, it definitely was a good one. It definitely was worth it. It was it was entertaining, kept the drama. I mean, it was believable. It wasn't like hokey, off the charts crap. It just was. It was just fun. It was nice,
and it never slowed down. It never slowed down. I might be wrong. Did you feel it ever slowed down?
No, I didn't. I thought it kept a good pacing. It didn't rush it. It didn't slow down. I think it was consistent throughout the I think it was consistent. That's a good thing. And that's what the thing has happened in all these episodes. I feel like they've all been pretty well paced. They've been very balanced. The writing's good, very intellectual. Also, again, another episode where there's been good music, sound effects that tie it in through the whole show. And I think it goes overall mood, pacing, setting, and makes for a very good show. And that's what I think with these older shows, why I really love them is because it's the ambiance that it creates that makes it really good.
Yeah. That's very funny. Very funny, Fanty. Very funny. But I have to agree. I gotta show respect to my host here. The thing that was great about this episode for me was
I do like that. Yeah, but it was true. But it's something that we joke with that, but it's a serious contrast. I mean, the voice was harsher. We're used to all the planet Earth's robots being computers being nice guys. Even the ones that tried Buck Rogers, they were still. I mean, they were toned, but they were like they weren't like Theopolis scummy, but they weren't like the angry eyebrows angry.
I agree with that. And the thing that was nice about this was, and this was shown in one of the previous episodes where Buck is on trial, and we talked about that, where obviously the AI has progressed to a point where they have different personalities, right? And DeBronin clearly has an entirely different personality to Theopolis, but he's still clearly a cybernetic intelligence. And to a sci-fi person, that matters to every aspect of you as a sci-fi person. But for you, right, as a sci-fantasy person, we had an interesting new version of the cell where Buck and the other prisoners are being kept, and a different addendum, shall we say, to how they're being kept in the cell with the energy bars that are, as directly stated by Cassius Thorne, played by Jay Robinson. The energy bars are activated by body heat. So the closer you get, the more the bars are going to react. And you have these little sci-fi elements, but you have the pew-pew and you have the battle scenes for you. It's an all-rounder. You know what I mean? It's an all-rounder episode. And I don't know if you know this, but actually renting out horses and training performers to learn how to ride the horses is very expensive. So they really spent a lot more money on this episode than with the previous episode. A lot more money, because there was a scene where you had the prime minister and her daughter and 2 other attendants all riding horses together in the same field. That is twice as expensive as 2 horses. Twice as expensive. And it was also not showing an area like you would do in MASH, where they were basically just doing the back lot of the studio, where it doesn't look like Korea at all. It basically just looks like Southern California. And in this episode, they went to places with real grass and real trees, very tall trees, and it looked different. And I thought that was magnificent. I appreciate that. You know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, all right. Well, I still say it's an A. I still say it's a great episode. I'm not necessarily over the top A plus, but it was definitely good. The whole series has been good. Although I think coming up we're going to have a few episodes that are going to be kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
I know.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
There you go.
It's the
See,
way
I like that.
television.
Why didn't they just suggest making it a single spot for men to visit? You know, hey,
Fancy.
that's cool. So, I think there is a currency. I just don't remember what it is. But anyway,
It's called credits. It's an
credits.
intergalactic credit system, and that's why it's actually in Kronos. It's in this episode. It's referenced as credits. Like they're going to get, we'll get 10,000 credits for this one, says Jay Robinson. He says it directly, and he actually gets more than that. He gets more than 10,000 credits for Buck at the end of the action.
Kronos does ask. So we pretty much covered the episode, right? You think?
I'd say for today, with this episode, we've done as much as we can.
What we'll do next week when JT is back, we'll get his thoughts on these 2 episodes, because he actually had opinions. He told me so. We'll visit next week. A little bit of this will come back next week. So if anything hits us again in the meantime, we'll bring it up next week. At least a little bit of time. But Kronos had a great question: would Buck Rogers make for a good remake?
The answer is very simple. It depends on what production company does it and whom are working in that production company. So if you have a situation where it is a Marvel production company, it will be crap. If it is a situation like the independent production companies in Europe who respect science fiction, it would be glorious. You have to have the right people for the job, Kronos. It is integral. And so if you have people who basically just want to do BuzzFeed translated through science fiction, it's going to be garbage. But if you have people who love science fiction at the outset who want to do a remake, it will be glorious.
There you go. I agree. I think that it could. I think it's one of those. So yeah, and the 25th of the trademark would be public domain. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But hey, Lisa!
Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa.
Good to see you, Lisa. Hope you're doing well tonight.
Lisa would have liked the previous episode.
I know. Yeah, she would have. I think she would have liked it really good, especially
the costumes, dude. She would have.
Oh yeah.
Lisa could rock those naughty gal costumes we saw at the beginning. Kidding, Lisa. Just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding about you being able to rock them. I'm just kidding about making the joke in the first place, and I apologize. But Lisa does not mind it when she's appreciated in such a manner.
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah,
we do appreciate Lisa in an intellectual and salient manner.
Yep.
Above all.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Phantom Outsider, good that you made it in here at the end, but we're about to wrap up. But better late than ever. And thanks for coming to say hi. Daisy left earlier. JT was not able to be with us. Hopefully have him back next week. And like I said, we'll hope to be able to go over this episode a little bit. Hold on. What's wrong?
Kronos is saying putting on the re. No, dude, this is 1979. It's putting on the Ritz.
Yeah, exactly.
You're too young to know that.
Ritz. Taco. That's another 80s song I can do sometime.
I love that song. I would do a duet with you for that song.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that soon. So, all right. Taco. What a great guy. So, anyway. All right. Well, JT Kirk, hopefully we'll be back next week. So next week we're going to be looking at, everybody's favorite. You're going to love Cosmic Whiz Kid.
Oh, damn it. My least favorite episode. God.
Hey, what you talking about, Willis?
I know. God. Oh, geez, Gary Coleman. I love the guy, but dude, he does not belong in science fiction.
No, he didn't belong in that, but hey. But we'll come and talk about it. We'll have plenty of comments next week with that. We are near 2.5 hours. I can't believe we did that after. I mean, we didn't even squirrel. Well, we squirreled a little bit at the beginning talking about 80s music. We mentioned Lisa and Duran Duran. Sadly, she was not here for that unless she was lurking. But it's like, Duran Duran, I'm going to convert you, though. The old stuff, dude.
Never.
It's got to be the way.
Never going to happen.
It will.
No.
But we also have 1.12 Escape from Witted Bliss. So we got to see what that is. So, hey, folks, join us for that next week. Yeah, LOL. Whiz Kid. Yeah, exactly. But hey, catch us with this. And also coming up the 19th on Tuesday. We have Alaska Jeff on Tuesday where we're going to talk about Alaska snow and Christmas, the Great White North with Alaska. Daisy Blossom, like I said, next Wednesday we're going to talk Die Hard. Come to talk whether it is or is not a Christmas movie or not. And we're going to have fun. Bring your opinions. Be ready, okay? Oh yeah, Phantom said this is the second straight week with angry AI. The angry android followed by angry eyebrows and robot disc face. LOL. It is December. So, hey. And yes. Oh, I actually, Phantom Out said hello to you, Lisa, and you guys. I wonder what you guys are supposed to be. I'm like, I don't know. Are we funny or what? Oh gosh, but hey, thank you everybody that's in here today. 10 of y'all watching. Also on the 21st, we got Squeak Up Mouse coming in. We'll talk about Christmas again, the holiday special. We did one last year, so we'll do one again this year. And then on the 24th, on Christmas Eve, we've got the Great Masters Maniac Mexico coming in to celebrate a German Christmas with us on Christmas Eve at 3 p.m. Oh. Well,
what's going on?
Nothing. Well, why wouldn't we be nice to you? So you're always welcome. Would love. So anyway, I miss playing Fortnite with Lisa, but I'm not going to be able to tonight.
If we were not nice to Lisa, we would be clinically insane.
Exactly. It's true. Yeah, she's like my number 2 backup buddy now. Actually, I think she's better than you. She's my 1. You're 1A. You're 1B. How is that? Does that work?
Like I could argue.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep yes, exactly. So, hey, she stayed up 24 hours playing Fortnite. What else could you ask? That's a lot.
I don't know anybody close to my age who can stay up 24 hours. So I admire that.
Well, hey, it happened. So join us for all this specials starting next week. It's going to be a busy road up into Christmas. Also, what's not on here is next Saturday night. Mrs. and I are going to do a stream.
I'm just laughing at Lisa.
I know. Number 2 is poop. I'm trying to make. You just laugh out of nowhere. I'm trying to make an announcement and there's laughter. But hey, next Saturday night, it's time to be determined. Me and the missus will be doing a stream together, and she'll be building a gingerbread House of the Millennium Falcon. So hey, so join us for that. So a lot of events leading up to Christmas. Also, make sure you join every morning. Let's see. I don't here. Let me see this. I need to put this in for the missus because I don't.
Yes, Kronos. Lisa does have super comedic powers. Yes, she does.
Yeah, she does. That's why I try to get her on as much as I can. I'd work, because she's brilliant with it, but. She gets shy, so that's okay.
Well, technically, Kronos, the term is envious. Jealous applies to wanting someone else's spouse. Envious applies to wanting someone else's ability. So the proper term is envious, not jealous. Even though people under the age of 35 do not know what words mean anymore, I cannot help that. I apologize, dear Kronos.
So join Mrs. tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. There's a link to the YouTube side of it. So feel free to come say hi to her if you haven't already. Be there for that and have a good time with her. She finished a build on today, the Mount Rushmore the other day, and it's really a lot of stuff she's doing. So, all right, chill chats or something will be random at times, especially for the rest of the month. Really, after that week, then there'll be a lot of it will be depending on when I have time, when I'm awake, when I feel like it, and things like that. Fortnights too will be on prom too. We did one tonight where Miss and I played for the first time this season in Winterfest. We looked at it together. Had hoped to do some more with some people first, but it's what it is. So, but hey, Winterfest is not what it was like last year. We had some different ideas on it. It's not. They used to have it where you get a lodge and you go and shake boxes and all. This year it's just like, here's your gift. Just here's your gift. Get out of here. And now it's just quest. So it's a little bit different. So different. And so late night with Dadman and friends are random. Hopefully when I get some time off coming up, there'll be more of these that are going on and doing it. And we're going to fight the power no matter what's going on, who's out there, whatever. We're just going to be friends coming together and say, screw the system, chase the squirrels together and have some fun together.
And hey, to be honest, if other people had the right to build their channels when they were at your level 2 years ago, you have the right to build your channel now.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool. I just want to say it. We're going to go live. We're going to do what we can do. If old man here could stay awake at night, that's the big thing. So
preaching to the choir, bro.
So
preaching
exactly.
to the choir.
All right. Well, look, there's streams on YouTube and Twitch at Dadman Walking 55. I need to actually fix something on Twitch because Opera's not working over there. I'm losing videos on the Twitch side, but they are on YouTube.com. Also on Twitter, Dadman Walking 55. Follow me there. So get the notifications. Make sure you follow on Twitch. Get the notifications. Subscribe. Make sure you hit the like video tonight. The like button. Share the videos out before, after, whatever. Get the word out there, and let's keep growing from 524. Let's get 525, and that'll be the next stop forever. But also support the missus and her channel, like I said. And with that, we will see you the next time. Bye, all.